welcome back to Krown's Magical Derp Cave.
Wow, you're very lively on this Friday. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It is a very just boring Friday over here from Helsinki, Finland. What the hell, man? This last 24, 48 hours has been pretty much uneventful, and a little bit of an embarrassing price action there as well. Actually getting my own price action analysis pretty damn off kilter yesterday, which is rather embarrassing, but it is going to happen from time to time, of course. But the best thing to do after you do something wrong is do something right. And what is that in this case? Probably wait for myself, although there are a few interesting things coming in right now. And more importantly, this is going to be a setup for the week to come. And realistically, the big focus for myself is right now on the options market, which I do think is rather conclusive as what we very likely are looking at. However, with that said, what happens over the weekend? Well, that's a fucking wild card if I ever saw any. So with that in mind, let's put the focus now on the Krown Chain application, which we found at app.krownchain.net. By the way, I forgot to wish you the best, and the happiest. Would like to do that as well. And on the Krown Chain application, there is pretty much nothing new, actually. Everything's more or less stock standard, what we saw for the past week or so. So a very boring week in cryptocurrency land nonetheless, and we do see the fear and greed index still stuck at a 25. Bitcoin dominance still at a 45% read. Open interest pretty much exactly where we left it off, coming down a couple hundred million right there. And then as far as best top 10 best coins, top 10 worst coins, we actually do see some alts having significant movements right here. This is actually rather interesting. XFin Network up 38%. Jesus Christ, man. Theta, Fuel, Phantom, and Hedera Hashgraph all up double digits. Everything else a little bit more muted on that side. And on the top 10 losers, we got AMP, Shiba, Thorchain, Kusama, Clayton, and Engine Coin. Some of the more strong ones of the last month or so. And OMG Network, oh man, this shit's back on the list once again for all of the wrong reasons. Anyways, into the market data tab over here. Again, very little things to kind of update on. Very little has actually changed. I mean, realistically, this is still showing major negative reads across the board. In fact, we have a global negative funny rate with even FTX actually getting almost to that negative 0.1% threshold, which actually is going to suggest that longs are actually getting paid a decent amount of pocket change there to hold their positions on FTX. Now, that does change every hour there for FTX specifically, so you can kind of look at that as not as certainly not as conclusive. But with OKX, BitMEX, Huobi, and Binance and Teribit all posting negative rates as well, though a lot more muted, somewhere right around negative 0.04. It is going to be a little bit suggestive that I would be on the defensive here, for trappy types of movements. But I was looking for that yesterday, and unfortunately, no trap was had at that 39.3 level. Anyways, hey, what's up, Abitemic? Good to see you as well, man. Tell us a happy story of your choosing. Man, a happy story of my choosing. Oh, man. Well, I'm going to get some good sleep this weekend, I'll tell you that, just because this price action is rather stale at this point. But going over here into the put call markets, and we'll perhaps get to that a little bit later, but I do want to address this really quickly, and then obviously a big focus on next week because we have the monthlies, and that actually does hold a lot of weight. We have significant amount of open interest over here on the June regulars, but as far as today goes, that being June 18th, we do see that price action is more or less tethered right around about $37,000. So I don't think that Bitcoin's going to break $37,000 between now and expiration, which is about a little bit less than 3 hours from this exact moment in time. So I do think that Bitcoin's more or less range bound here for the short-term timeframes. Anywhere between about 38 and 37 is fair game. And over the weekend, who the hell knows? That is a complete wild card. I almost am going to relegate myself to never doing analysis on the weekend anymore, just because while actually last weekend did go rather well, just because a lot of the time it's more or less just inconsequential, not really anything too interesting going on. It's more or less like waiting around for CME to open up on late Sunday and obviously regular markets to open up on Monday. Anyways, this is the one that I really want to focus on right here. That's going to be your June regular expiration, and I still do look at this as very likely to set in a base point at the very least at $36,000 right here. What do I mean by that? We do have humongous amount of open interest on the $36,000 put strike. That tells me that we very likely do not see Bitcoin close this monthly below $36,000, or technically speaking, on the 25th of April, or sorry, 25th of June in this case. But at the end of the day, I mean, they are more or less the same anyways. So with that in mind, I do look at this as very important right here. On the other side, I know that it does say max pain price is $40,000. This means nothing. I don't think that's relevant at all. On the other side, I would say that we do have a bit of a baseline to the upside at about $44,000. So things are rather capped right here. And if I had to call it right now, very likely Bitcoin does close somewhere around, somewhere within that range, which is a fucking massive range. I mean, maybe we could make that about $40,000, but then again, that is not as relevant, to be honest with you. So no, I think that would be the incorrect call right there. But I do think that we're going to be doing a lot of waiting around right here, and it's going to be more or less a range-bound market for the next week to come, because we do have how many more days until the 25th? Yeah, literally 1 week, and that technically is not the end of the month. That's just the last monthly expiration for June, which should greatly influence the monthly close, but that actually comes almost another full week after that. In fact, I believe it's about 10 days from now, almost 10 days from now. It's going to be on the 30th, actually. Anyways, with that said, I would put significant amount of interest on this right here, and then, of course, once we get into next week, positions will very likely be rolled into the July expirations, and you can see right now the July regulars are starting to increase a little bit of interest. If you've been keeping in touch in this over the last I think over the last like week or two, we have seen this slowly going up. Now it's starting to become a little bit more and more relevant. I'm actually curious to see where people are rolling their positions onto. I'm going to guess around $40,000, but let's just double check over here on July 30th, and actually no, $45,000 call strike is getting played a little bit here, and also the $100,000 call strike as well, but these are very inconsequential positions right now, all things considered, for like a monthly expiration. I can't really make too much out of this, but it is very interesting to see that $45,000 call strike is getting played up big time right there thus far, at least in comparison to everything else. So with that in mind, I think it's time to go to the actual price action charts themselves. And what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to kind of erase everything and start from scratch here, because why the hell not? And a little, at least it'll make things a little bit easier and a little bit more interesting for this morning's analysis. So with that in mind, I'm going to put on a volume profile right here. Pretty damn simple stuff, and we do see that the point of control is actually coming in right around pretty much where our current wick low is right now, which is basically low $37,000, right? Anyways, with that in mind, I do look at that as a bit of a basing point. And while yesterday I did say that if we did fail the 39.3 level, that Bitcoin would probably come down somewhere around mid 36 to low 36. And now that I look at this, I do think that it could be front run a little bit if that is going to be the play. The problem is, my biggest issue with this market right now is, from my own analysis perspective, is altcoins do not look good by any stretch of the imagination at all whatsoever. So I feel like I'm kind of pulling at I'm pulling at fumes here to kind of come up with a more interesting case for Bitcoin. But the fact of the matter is that altcoins are just not of that same accord. And what I mean by that is, I can just show you very quickly here on Mr. Ethereum, which is not just completing another lower high, but also retesting around prior lows. That's not necessarily what you see when you're doing an uptrend. So ultimately, I really don't like this sort of action over here. And if I was just looking at most altcoins, I'd probably be a lot more confident in calling some downside direction, at the very least, somewhere down around our current low side range, which for Bitcoin would be $35,000. Not exactly the lows, but of course, it is a little bit more relatively strong in comparison to some like Ethereum, which, lows would be somewhere right around about 21 to 2200-ish bucks. Anyways, with that said, I really do not like this chart right here. I really do not like Litecoin right here. I think Ripple was also rather concerning as well. Yes, indeed it is. I mean, all these are just downtrends is what they are. And that's what's really throwing me off here, because I feel like I don't want to let go of Bitcoin, but at the same time, altcoins are just not looking healthy. Monero, same thing, I imagine. Let me just double check right here. Come on, show it to me. Actually, Monero is Monero is definitely different. Monero is definitely strong right there. Actually, Monero is definitely one to keep an eye on. What about BNB? Just kind of perusing some of the altcoins. Yeah, another one of the somewhat strong ones right there. But at the same time, all of these are more or less the same charts. And what I mean by that is that it's really not wise, in my opinion, to switch around to like looking for a nice upside move in this case until we take out that last lower high for some like BNB that's going to be about 370, for some like Litecoin that's going to be right around about 180ish region, for some like Ethereum that is going to be, I believe, about 2600 right here. I mean, we're well and far away from that, and the trend is your friend in these cases. And while Bitcoin is showing some signs that it actually does want to maybe even try for like a short-term local low right here, it does make me rather concerned for a lot of those altcoins, just generally speaking. Of course, we do have an impending death cross on the exponential moving averages, not the simple moving averages. Pretty much that is inevitable as long as Bitcoin is below about $41,000, basically our current high structure right here. And that is pretty much right in line with the 200 exponential moving average as well. So as long as Bitcoin is below there, we will inevitably pull these closer and closer together, and that would be rather devastating as well. But it is still relatively far away, and that also means on the other side, if Bitcoin gets any sort of a closure above the 200 exponential moving average here, which is about 40,900-ish region on a daily, probably could even do a 12-hour as well, I would be looking for a nice rip into the mid to deep $40,000 territory. Still 46 to 47,000 bucks is on the cards if that were to happen. And if we go down to the short-term timeframes over here, I actually would still have to have the same sort of trap analysis to be said about the same area from yesterday as well. On a 4-hour closure specifically, though, that would be 39,200-ish region, the area that we spoke about on yesterday's video and also on the short video that we did about like, I don't know, just like half a day later. Anyways, with that in mind, that is still very much relevant right there. Let me just mark it off. There we go. Also in line with the 786 if you are drawing a tracement on this, at the same time. And realistically, I am actually rather stumped with price action right here. In fact, I really don't have a strong opinion on this. And for myself, whenever I feel like that, I want to be open and honest about it. I want to be transparent about it. And more importantly, I do not trade during these times. In fact, we had a really good conversation in the Discord earlier where someone basically said, like, I feel like I don't have a good idea of what's going on right now with price action. Said, yeah, I feel the same way. And when I feel like that, I don't trade. I mean, that's basically the idea. Look, when you have an edge, that tells you to take a trade, it's either on or off. It's either fuck or not. And in this case, I think that it's rather unclear. The only clear things that I'd be looking for right here is basically back above about 39.2, which would be the same analysis as yesterday, looking for price action back up around our current high structure, somewhere around 41 to maybe even all the way up to 43,000 bucks. On a continuation drive, assuming that the daily follows through. And by the same token, to the downside, I mean, Bitcoin, it's no secret right here. Bitcoin's trying to base off on the 618 retracement. We also do see, of course, the volume profile that does have a nice significant area in this region as well. So if we do start to lose this, have to start looking down towards a little bit south of 36,000 bucks. So ultimately, with a weekend looming over our heads, I am very hesitant to be looking at or very hesitant to be calling anything like very exact right here, especially with the sloppiness in the short-term timeframes. I mean, it's kind of sloppy and just down. I mean, all timeframes are in a downtrend, to be fair, up to a daily right now, and then of course above that we do have some issues as well, but. Looking at the 2-day, which we just closed last night, and looking at the 3-day, which we just closed at last night as well. I mean, these are not my favorite charts right here, and we do have an impending 21 to the downside of the 55 right here as well. And I actually just want to double check what are the last few iterations that we have seen on this one, because this is a rather powerful time frame, and I do want to be cognizant of the last few times. Well, the last time that we got an upside cross, well, that led us all the way up from about 8,000 to 64,000. That's actually rather nice. Last time that we got a downside cross right here was literally right on the coronavirus dump, so this was a bad one, of course. This one over here, decent, actually. In fact, a little bit similar to what we're doing right now. This went to the upside over here, very fucking good. In fact, it looks like all of the upside crosses thus far have been pretty damn good in this case. This one over here to the downside, again, terrible timer, but does get a bull trap right after that. And a few, well, I guess we don't have any more iterations on this. If we go to Bitstamp, we will. Yep, here we go. And this one, again, pretty much getting the whole run. In fact, very interesting on a lot of these runs. Anytime that we do see a cross the downside after a nice prolonged upside run, that pretty much is it. So that would be a little bit more on the potential bearish side, assuming that we do actually close below there on this next one, because that will very likely actually pull them into each other. Let's see, what would be needed? Well, technically at this point, we would need to close below about 30,650 or so. So it's probably not happening on the next closure, but if Bitcoin does fuck around in this range for a little bit longer, I guess it will start to turn more and more inherently bearish, at least for the short and medium term, for another test back down to the bottom side of the range. At the end of the day, though, if you do want to make this rather easy, I do stick with what I've been saying for the last like month and a half now, I think, because we've been in this range for a rather long time now, or at least a month, ever since middle of May or so. Anyways, my point that I was going to make right there is that I'm still just looking at something like this. Best case for boo laws is something just sideways within this range for the foreseeable future, probably most of summer, if not all of summer. And then if Bitcoin could just essentially hold the lows, then I probably would be looking at, an upside resolution, or at least a try for an upside resolution coming into quarter 4 of this year. But for right now, I think this market's, more or less boring as fuck. And I think, a lot of things point towards that right now. Like I've been saying, a lot of my YouTuber friends, they are very much not happy with the views right now, as people are losing interest. I mean, retailers are losing interest. Like, the worst thing for a retailer is not necessarily going full to the moon or full to the doom. In fact, the worst thing for a retailer or just anyone who's kind of getting into this game fresh out of the gate is going sideways. Think about it. For all the people who are getting in, over the last 7-8 months over here, they were getting, just absolutely adorned with price action every day. I mean, massive moves every day. And for right now, with Bitcoin caught within more or less a $10,000 range, well, this is boringness, and boringness leads to indifference, and indifference leads to just letting go of things. And in this case, I do think that we're kind of in, or at least for the best case scenario for bulls, we're kind of in something resembling that right now. And that is most of what I have to say, actually. If we go over here into the momentum charts, let's see what we got going on right now. I'm curious if there's anything obvious over here that I'm not getting off of price action. What do we see on the 4-hour? 4-hour Stokes will be crossing the downside with any sort of a closure below 38,350. Not good. 3-hour is doing about the same, but 38,100 is the magical number right there. Buy hourly is actually crossing up right now, so 37,350, and hourly is already up 37.5. So if we are going off that, I would be looking for perhaps a little bit of a short-term bounce right here. You can see on price action if we go down to an hourly, which I typically don't like to do, but in this case, I mean, things are so fucking slow right now that it actually does make a little more sense. In this case right here, yeah, it does look like it wants to have a bit of a bounce, but keep in mind, this is a downtrend. We can bounce up all the way to even around 38,600, even 39,000 bucks, and it's still just a downtrend. It's still just lower highs and lower lows at this point. So while I probably would be looking for a little bit of a short-term pop back up here, I would not be, or at least I would not feel comfortable calling anything more than that, especially with a weekend looming overhead. Here's if there's anything obvious right here. No, we're just kind of chopping around the 200 simple on the 4-hour. That is pretty indecisive as far as I'm concerned. You can see that there's someone trying to defend it and also someone trying to push back on it too. There is one easy trade on the other side though. There is one easy trade right here. And probably the only trade that I'd be interested in taking on a day like today. If we do take out the last 4-hour low, which is about 37,215, I would look for a continuation down just to, at the very least, like low 36,000 bucks, upper 35,000 bucks in this case. But realistically, I feel like we're probably not going to get a move today, to be honest with you. Looking at 4-hour BBWP, it's actually trending down once again. So we got an initial burst up yesterday on that, on that short-term move, but faded almost immediately as it began. 3-hour, I believe, is doing the same thing. Indeed it is. Buy hourly is, well, actually still kind of trending up there a little bit. Let's see what the hourly is doing, and hourly is already coming down. So the buy hourly is the odd man out in this case. And while the hourly is likely leaning up for a bit of a move here short term, and while it very likely does come to the upside and probably does tack up 38.6 to 38.7-ish region, I don't know if that's going to spill on over into the medium and higher term timeframes, because what we do see right now, and what I think is a little bit more conclusive, is one, we do see hidden bearish divergence, a little bit of a phantom drive right there on the 12-hour. I don't like that, definitely. And then what we do see on the both the 12-hour and the daily is that BBWP is actually trending down here. So we are getting another just consolidation is what it's looking like. Again, I want to see something similar to this in order to really get excited for a potential macro low, of which we do have, one of the puzzle pieces actually in place now. We do have a higher low in price action, but the BBWP and the hash ribbon signal have yet to signal off the full and formal indications. They've gotten pretty damn close. If we go back on over here to Bitcoin on spot, we can see that daily hash ribbons got pretty damn close about a couple weeks ago, but obviously the signal was never had. And for right now, we can't even get a signal right here. So this is, if you are a long-term investor, I do not think that this is the time, so to speak, especially if you are thinking in terms of opportunity cost, because even after we get that signal, historically speaking, it's taken, a couple of weeks for price action to actually move on average. And on top of that, if we go over here to the BBWP, it really hasn't been until we see the BBWP come all the way down into the single digits, preferably, before like the next sort of major massive move does transpire. What's up, bro? How you doing, man? Fuaziz, bro. How you doing, man? Good morning to you. It's a little bit of a weird morning over here, man. I feel like there's just such a lack of just interesting things to be looking at right now, to be honest with you. Just, it feels boring, just in the same way that beginning of 2019 did, which is actually kind of a good sign, I suppose, long term. But that did take 3 to 4 months, and we're still just above month number 1 right now. So might be a little more waiting, but this is essentially what I'm looking for right here. This was your coronavirus dump time, of course, and then of course your last time in that $3,000 to $4,000 range a couple years ago in 2019. Anyways, you do see that BBWP did redline on the first initial dump to the downside right here. Same thing on coronavirus right here. It's not until BBWP trends all the way back down into the single digits whilst confirming a higher low. And then also, if we go over here to our hash ribbon signal, you can see that the hash ribbon signal did follow up on top of that as well right here. and right here respectively, and all three of those parts did create the macro low actually. So if we do see something like that, I'd be very, very confident in getting more long-term bullish, calling this a macro low here. But until we get that, I do kind of err a little bit more on the side of caution here. Short term, like I said, very likely a bounce back up, but a bounce back up of about what $800 or so is not going to do anything all that much for myself. Again, as long as Bitcoin's below about 39, if you want to use an hour, 39.5 at this point, or if you're using a 2 hour or 4 hour, I'd still say 39.3 in this case, or 39.2, is that right? Yeah, about 39.2 actually. Then, I would be looking for another test back up to the tops of the range, somewhere around this week's highs, about $41,000 or so, give or take a few bucks. I think it's just going to be more or less boring and sideways, to be honest with you. I think that right now is the time to be trading Forex, if anything. So let's see. Speaking of Forex, actually, we should check out on Dixie. And guess what? Dixie did get that mega move to about $92. So we did hit our $91 target coming into the beginning of this week. And we did extend that yesterday up to, I believe, just above $92, wherever this high is right here. And that would be about 92 and 30 cents or so. So I still think that we actually got a little bit more on this move right here. I do think it's going to get relatively toppy somewhere within that region at the very least for a bit of a pullback. But that does not mean a full-on reversal on the daily just yet. But we do see that BBWP over here is suggesting that we are in the midst of a bit of a critical move. I do think that it has a little bit more to go there. I want to see it at least get a 100 percentile, but all momentum oscillators are still bullish here, obviously. And looking at the weekly, this very easily could have more over time. Weekly RSI is not bearish. That is actually rather bullish. Weekly TSI is having a fresh cross the upside as well. Now we do have a quarterly and bi-monthly coming up at the end of this month here, and while I would be long-term very bearish on this, that doesn't mean that we can't have, upside moves in the interim. So with all of that in mind, I'm looking at this as a bit of a counter trend signal on Bitcoin as well, obviously. Now, it doesn't exactly work out like that, in its totality, because Dixie is essentially measuring the dollar versus all other, or a basket of all the major their fiat currencies, not necessarily, like asset prices like Bitcoin, but it does speak towards the dollar strength. And of course, if Bitcoin trades against the dollar, well, a strengthening dollar would be generally bad for Bitcoin, just like a weakening dollar was generally good for Bitcoin over the last year, especially. I mean, going back to March, May of 2020, that was your coronavirus dump time over here. And ever since, we've been downtrending. And of course, Bitcoin has been, uptrending on the other side as well. But keep in mind, I mean, we still do have lower highs on this price action as well, as long as we're below about 93 and a third. So a little bit more short-term upside does not necessarily violate that for right now. But with that in mind, I do still think that we have a little bit of more short-term upside here. So at the very best, sideways within the range is still the name of the game, at least for myself in Bitcoin. And altcoins look more or less shitty on the whole, which makes me a lot more concerned. And if I am going to get bearish, it's mostly due to altcoins. Bitcoin's kind of neutral to slightly, well, I mean, we still have higher lows as long as Bitcoin above about $35,000. So that is hard to hate, and that is one of my rules. And that makes this analysis very fucking annoying right now, doesn't it? So hopefully me talking in circles right here is very indicative of, my own indecision within this price action. Really only a couple of obvious things here as far as I'm concerned. Again, above about 39.2 to the upside for a nice little move back up to range highs, and perhaps even another continuation move into the deeper 40s. And then below actually today's low at 37.225 or so on Bitstamp, and I'd start to look for moves back down somewhere around about $36,000, give or take a few bucks. But ranges are tightening, things are getting less and less volatile, and that does wind up for a greater resolution. But I don't think that we're going to be seeing that today. I think that we're going to have to be waiting probably last week of June, or maybe even July. This is getting rather fucking boring, and that's probably a good thing overall, as long as Bitcoin essentially does not break below its current low structure, which it is a clean about $5,000 to $6,000 above right now. All right, cool. Anyways, I think it's time to get on some. Has Krown taken 3 cups of coffee today? He's talking fast on 0.75 speed. Actually, man, I'm feeling a little bit slow today, if anything. Hey, what's going on right there? What are you laughing at? Mark Cuban's in the chat? Holy shit! Hey, Mark Cuban, how did that Titan thing go, man? What happened over there? Are you okay? Well, I figure if you're a billionaire, you can afford to lose about $5 million, but probably doesn't feel all that great. But goddamn, man, I like how people always worship billionaires as if they always know what they're doing. I mean, I think right there you have a good example of Oh man, that was a ghastly situation. It's like you don't need to be a fucking crypto Twitter pleb in order to get rug pulled. You can also get rug pulled even as a billionaire. Just doesn't matter as much, I suppose. Anyways, all right, I smell bears trap below 38,000 bucks. VP VR is telling, says Abadonomics. Yeah, I mean that would be one of the big things on the boulage side right here, but I don't think it's really conclusive in and of itself. But realistically, yeah, if you are looking at this from the last, from the last 6 months or so here, yeah, we do have a very high level of interest within this region. And if you are going to be looking for a bit of a bear trap, probably does come in from something like that. And short-term timeframes do agree with you, at least for a short-term upside move, but I would not say that the signals that we're getting on the very short-term timeframes here are suggesting that we're going to actually reverse a trend in that way. But a move up to maybe even all the way to 39,000 bucks is certainly within the cards. And then I'd be looking at a pivot on the on the short-term time frame somewhere right around about 39.2 to 39.3 region. Hey, what's up, Nimbo? Mark Cuban is a snake. He was doing the rug pulling. Was he really? Is that proven? Because if that is true, holy shit, man, that guy's gonna catch a lot of flack. Because I know that a lot of people are kind of treating him as like DeFi Jesus in a way, and I suppose that's going to destroy a lot of hopes and dreams, unfortunately. Hey, what's up, Maximiliano Palma? Appreciate that, man, but feel free to have a message as well. It would make everything better. Anyways, Justin Tafoya says, "Hello, Krown. What's up, man? Hope all is well. I got a good night's sleep, so it all is well for myself. Can you check out MSTR? Is this this is MicroStrategy? What it is?" I thought you were going to say Monster. I always get those tickers confused, but funnily enough, MicroStrategy not bearish here. This would actually be a good sign for Bitcoin, I suppose, for putting in a bit of a trappy trap, but is this thing doing its own thing or just a beneficiary of a generally strong stock market? That is a real question. If I'm looking at this chart right here, I think it's quite obvious. This one's going up to about 669. I do believe that we did call a bear trap on this one about a week or two ago on the 9th of June. This was confirmed a day or two later. Yes, on the 11th of June right here. Nice markup after that. I would be looking for a little bit of a short-term continuation and then a pullback, probably down to our low side structure right here. Anywhere down to about 600 bucks is fair game on this one. And then probably into next week, I would be looking for this rally to continue, maybe even all the way back up north of 7.25. So this actually looks pretty good. This actually looks pretty damn good from a weekly perspective. Let's see how the monthly is shaping up here with only a few days left to go. Pretty damn good too. Actually, I have no major issues with this at all. No major issues with this. In fact, this actually looks well. Let's go to quarterly really quick. Let's see what this one looks like. Yeah, I'm actually not too. Yeah, this is actually pretty damn good. This would probably be one of the better cases for a Bitcoin Bula move into the deeper 40s. But looking at the 6 month, maybe a little bit less invigorating. Still, though, I do like daily for continuation a little bit more, at the very least, back up to about 690. Probably plays at a pullback in a bit of a range, and then next week, I'd be looking for a setup, perhaps even all the way back up into the mid 700s or so. It actually looks okay. It doesn't just look okay, it actually looks good. Bots for the win 55 says, should we bring out the sandpaper like last year? Last year was nothing for sandpaper. Man, if you want to go to true sandpaper ranges, I'll show you a true sandpaper range. That would be, if you were around during this time, man, you definitely remember this, but that would be, of course, in 2019 over here, which, by the way, there are a lot of signals that are somewhat populating relatively similarly into this region right here on this move from about this like 4 month long consolidation from 3,000 to 4,000 bucks before the major massive move, and then of course right here. But to put in perspective, man, we were seeing ranges on like a 4 hour time frame would have a range of, at this point, less than $10 fucking. It was mind-numbingly boring. In this case, I was mostly trading Forex at that point. I'm just kind of watching Bitcoin with some potential like long positions. And are we into this same sort of territory right here yet? Actually, no. Like the very sombering reality is that we've only been consolidating for a little bit over a month now. It's been from May 19th, and we're at currently just literally 1 month actually from that, June 18th, obviously. So it's been literally just about a month, maybe even a little bit less if you want to be super exact. And so get ready for another 2 to 3 months of this, probably. It is a bit sombering, but at the end of the day, if you want to see one massive girthy green dildo party to the upside over here, that just goes straight up for 5, 6, 7 months, then you're probably going to spend some time consolidating. I mean, that is also the same sort of narrative that we saw back and over here on this run. Remember this run from about 4,000 to 14,000 bucks. It took about 3 to 4 months to consolidate this run. And of course, on this breakdown right here, it took about 3 months on the consolidation in this ascending trunk before breaking down as well. So, we're probably looking at more time spent within this region. And what I would say is that more time spent within this region does favor the boo laws. If you are bearish, you essentially want to see Bitcoin kind of falter pretty much from here, actually. If bears are going to take control, they very likely do it probably early July, if I had to guess. And we'll see price action come back down below about 34,000 bucks, and that would be a little bit more concerning. But for right now, sideways is the name of the game, and boring as fuck is the real technical analysis here. Brad Failer says, Krown, can you look at GTBIF? Green Thumb Industries, it's on OTC. Okay. GTBIF, let's see. This I'm not familiar with at all. Green Thumb Industries. All right, trades OTC, as you said, 1 day, 1 week, please. Let's see. If I was just looking at the short term on the daily, it actually doesn't look too great, but the weekly definitely shores that up a bit. I like this, man. I like this actually a fair bit here. Now, it does have a rather big range, but ultimately this is shaping up to be reaccumulation. That is kind of what you expect after a nice run like that. BBWP is very fucking low over here, so we very likely are looking at one major massive range being constructed. And are we going to get resolution today or tomorrow? Probably not. No. But what side would I be looking on this for? Let's see what momentum also say. Next move probably to the downside. Do we come back down and test around 27.5? Perhaps yes. Long term though, I actually don't hate it, man. In fact, long term, I do think that this one has some upside, and that will be verified or at least confirmed with any sort of a higher term time frame close above about 32.5. I'd be looking for a retest of the highs in this case, and then very likely new all-time highs. But do I think that's happening right now? No, I don't. I think that this one takes its time, as are most things in this market right now. Actually, the only thing that's really moving is actually NASDAQ, which is incredibly fucking impressive, and another reason why I do hesitate to get full on bearish on Bitcoin. When you have NASDAQ rallying like that, and not just rallying, but in a blue sky breakout, it has been a very unwise decision in the past to be bearish on, well, basically any techs or financials. And in this case, Bitcoin very, very much correlated with the two. Does make me kind of reconsider that. Anyways, yeah, looking at the monthly right here, not getting too much from that. What about the quarterly, just out of curiosity? Yeah, quarterly is long-term bullish. So long-term, I do like it, yes. Short term, a little bit sloppy and sideways. And of course, I would get obviously bearish on this one below about 25 and a half. And it does sound like you're long term here. So hopefully that is in some way relevant to you. And if you do start to lose that level, yeah, I'd be looking for moves back down to $20 base. But for the time being, I'd give it a chance to go sideways, man. Give it the benefit of the doubt. Long term, it shows a lot of good things, actually. Anyways, let's see. Abbott says, thanks for everything you do, sir. You gave me laser trap vision. There you go, man. Any thoughts on gold on the daily futures? Can we just look at spot gold? I mean, it's going to be more or less the same, and I already have it charted out over here, and I imagine they're going to be, yeah, they're probably going to be the same charts anyways, but definitely let me know if you only want to look at that one. As far as gold goes, yeah, man, coughing up that whole rally is absolutely fucking nasty. We did get a backfill on last month's open, so I would be looking for a pity bounce here at the very least. Short term, let's see what we got on the hourly. And not giving me too much on the hourly right here. Let's see what the 4 hour says. 4 hour, yep, a little bit of continuation on this bounce, maybe back up to like 1800 or so, but it is, of course, a very nasty and very hefty downturn as long as we're below about 1820-ish region. So I do suspect that we probably do dive a little bit lower before this is all said and done. Very obvious area would be right around about 1730-ish region. So it depends what time frame you're looking at, but very short term, very likely a bounce, anywhere between here and like 20 bucks, 30 bucks up is fair game. Coming into next week though, I do think that you will get continuation to the downside, somewhere down around about 1730 to 1740-ish region, in line with the Cyan 89 expansion average. We do see that weekly RSI is going to give us hidden bearish divergence. Assuming that we close anywhere here or lower, anywhere below 1820 would do it for myself as well. And if we go down to, if we go up to the monthly, what do we see here? I'm not getting too much from this. Long term, actually don't hate this. Long term, actually think this is still okay, but that is, of course, long term. Quarterly is a bit of an inverted hammer dildo right there, which can be a signal of a higher low in this case as well. Still, 13 days left to go, so about 2 weeks left to go in this, in this quarterly, monthly, and in 6 month. But for right now, man, I'd give it the benefit of the doubt. Short term, give it a bit of a bounce. Then probably coming into next week, I'll be looking a bit lower. But I don't think that you're going to complete that next leg lower just now. I think you probably spend today doing a little bit of sideways and maybe a little bit of a bouncy bounce. But keep in mind on this one, any sort of a close, any sort of a close below like 18, especially below 1800, but even below about 1820ish region, you will confirm hidden bearish divergence on the weekly RSI. And at that point, I think it's I think it is very, very likely to come back down to about 1730ish region. So take that as you will. But this one more or less consulting within a greater range long term, and long term I don't necessarily hate it. So again, really time frame dependent on this one. And when I say long term, I mean like quarterly plus. So we're talking half a year to a year plus out. Anyways, we got Super Googly over here. He says, hello sir, what's up man? Will Michael Saylor rug pull all of us? Can we have a look at Dodo BTC please? That's actually a really good question, man. So someone brought up a really good point. I was listening to, who was I listening to? Yeah, I was listening to Up Only TV. Really great podcast there. And they actually had on Raoul Paul, I believe is his name. I think he's Australian, or he speaks very eloquently. No, not Raoul Paul, but Raoul Paul, I believe is his name. That was the first time that I've heard him speak. And he's actually, he sounds incredibly intelligent. He sounds incredibly nuanced, and he sounds incredibly, he just seems, he seems like he has a high level of integrity. It seems like he actually knows what the fuck is going on as far as investing goes. Now, I'm not an investor, so that's a completely different game. And I actually learned a lot of things just from hearing him speak on that podcast. And I'll definitely be searching out some more of his content too. Now, as far as the chart goes, I don't like it. But why was I speaking about that? Oh yeah, he was making a point about Michael Saylor. That's right. So they got onto the topic of Michael Saylor. And he brought up a really good point. Because he was asked essentially, okay, what happens if Michael Saylor essentially does rug pull, or if he does or if this bet doesn't go in his way? Michael Saylor is like the most long person of all time on Bitcoin. It's like almost uncomfortable to look at. And he had a really profound response. He said, look, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The reason why is because, look, if Michael Saylor does lose on this bet, he's still a billionaire. He's still a fucking billionaire. And on top of that, what Michael Saylor is doing is he's actually creating a community of very, very strong believers in himself, which is rather interesting, because he also made a corollary between doing that sort of an action and say a Chamath or a Kathy Woods, those types. They go after these like very big bets and these very typically pretty damn good ideas, but at the end of the day, that's not their main thing. They want a community, and that's what gives them real power, because at that point, and like an Elon Musk as well, at that point, you can't really fail if you have that around you. You always have the next thing, I suppose. So he actually made a really good salient point with that, and that reminded me of that. Anyways, as far as the chart goes, don't like it. Pretty bad. This is Dodo versus Bitcoin. What the hell is this thing, man? Yeah, weekly is atrocious here. Nothing bullish about this thing as long as it's below about 4,800 Satoshis. Long term, short term, probably coming back down and testing around last weekly low, or sorry, not last weekly low, but the last weekly low structure right here, about 3,000 Satoshis. Maybe another pity bounce right around there, but with the way that Bitcoin dominance is looking, any sort of a move above or below the daily range is going to absolutely shatter this one. And I'd probably be looking for a bit more of a full retrace down, maybe even below 2,000 Satoshis. That is a weekly, however. Now, what time frame were you specifically asking about? Yeah, you're asking about a daily, actually. So daily, daily could very easily bounce back up here. I mean, there again, as far as the daily goes, there's not really anything too interesting about this as long as it's below about 5,000 Satoshis here. I'm curious what the low-term timeframes say. Yeah, low-term timeframes do say that we probably bounce this area one more time at the very least. We do see that not daily, but 4-hour RSI is giving us multiple drives of bullish divergence over here, and we do see that volatility is starting to actually expand once again. So I would be looking for a test back up. I mean, this thing can rally up. This thing can rally back up all the way to 38, maybe even 4,000 Satoshis. But again, as long as you're below this structure right here, it is just another lower high. And with the way that the weekly looks, it's not the picture of health and fitness. So while it does have a little bit of short-term upside, I do not like it long term, and if I'm just curious what a monthly looks like here. Yeah, the monthly is pretty atrocious as well, man. I'm not a big fan of this. In fact, this impalement right here is pretty fucking nasty. This is linear scale, looks just as bad as well. So we'll stop beating this one up. But yeah, short term very likely a bounce. Long term probably continuation, man. There is nothing bullish about this one as long as it's below about 5,000 satoshis. Basically my main point. Mario Mara says, can you check out NVIDIA Blue Sky breakout? Yeah, let's definitely see this one. How is this one doing, all things considered? NDVA, right? Nope, that's not it. NVDA, there we go. Dyslexia catching up to me once again. Looking very fucking good there. Oh my god. Oh my god. Blue sky breakouts, man, you don't need my opinion on this. At the end of the day, it's going to do what it's going to do. You kind of just get out of the way in these cases right here. I'm curious to see. Oh, it looks like I already did that. And let's see. We're almost at the 2-spot target. I guess I did this maybe like a week or two ago when someone last asked about this. I would be looking for a little bit of a pullback right around about 757 region. And are we already getting that? No, we're not. So a little bit of short-term continuation here. Probably some sideways on the short-term timeframes, but long-term, I don't think that this baby's stopping out right here. I would be looking for extension all the way up almost towards $800 is where I'd be looking for. At 800, 820-ish region, I would be looking for some toppy behavior, but long-term, this one, continuation, man. Blue sky breakouts are, well, you just go with the trend in this case. 4-hour daily RSI telling the story right here. This one very likely has another extension on this move. Weekly is more or less fresh, playing out hidden bullish divergence back into the bullish control zone here. Yeah, I really like this chart, and for continuation long term, I would be looking at 800 plus. There's going to be, ebbs and flows along the way, obviously, but in this case right here, I don't think that this one's done at all long term. Looking at the monthly, there's nothing bearish about that, actually. Pretty fucking good, man. So fair enough. And this is on a log scale as well, so it doesn't look as ridiculous. But Jesus Christ, man, powerful NVIDIA right there. And I'd be looking forward to extend those gains a little bit more over the next couple months here. But let's see, did you? Oh no, you did not give a time frame. So just looking at the blue sky breakout. So yeah, basically continuation with probably a little bit of a short-term stop right around about 760-ish region, and then 800 to 820. I would be on like a little bit of weakness watch. If you see any sort of divergences on like a daily, perhaps that would be a good place for a local high, maybe even a major high, but I'd want to come back to it and see it in real time after that. Chris says, can you take a look at XFIN XDC on Bitfinex? Can we continue, or can we look for a pullback? Again, it always depends what time frame you're talking about, sir. I feel like we've had this conversation plenty of times now, man. But hey, if I'm looking at the daily right here, I do think that this one will generally continue. This is actually a pretty damn good chart. One of the better charts in cryptocurrency land, all things considered. In fact, this is what you'd really hope a lot of the altcoins would be doing. And this is kind of what I think the best hope for this market is right now. But what is this thing and what does it do? I don't know what it is, but it's been around for the last 3 years, which is, decent enough history for me. And throughout the history, it's been pretty much all good. So I do quite like that, and it does deserve its respect. Now, short term, if you're asking about short term, do I think that it pulls back from this region right here? No, actually, I think that it continues a little bit more before you get even a short term pullback. That would be about 0.084 region, and I'd be looking for it to play between there and actually this level right here. Now that we have actually surpassed that one for our golden cross on the way, but not the best example of that. So I'd be looking for a bit of a range here. Short term, yep, very likely does continue with the gains. However, 4-hour BBWP is saying, hey, look, we are getting to extremes right here. So while this one does have a little bit of a short-term continuation move, I probably would be looking for, at the very least, a range here. And if you do see anything resembling like a high, that would be rather concerning as well. But I don't think that that's what's going on long-term. Daily says this one's more or less fine. Daily TSI is about to get back into the bullish buy zone. Daily RSI is already in the bullish control zone. Now, I would be looking for it to kind of play in here a little bit, meaning that, first pass typically does get pushed back, and that would align with, very short-term continuation here, and then play within a range. And then if you said in a good base coming into next week, maybe we do look for new highs on this run, up to actually maybe back up to about 10 cents. But not this week, probably, at best next week, maybe more likely early June if I had to guess. But this one does have a pretty damn impressive chart, all things considered. So fair enough. All right. Let's see. G-dubs. Hey, what's up, man? Most honorable crown. Just regular crown today, man. I don't deserve anything honorable after yesterday. Jesus Christ. Can you check out cost on the monthly? Okay, cost. Is this Costco? It is Costco. It is Costco. Probably the best department store in America. Anyways, what do we do? What are you laughing at? You like Target, so shut up. Anyways, Elsa's like so confused by target. She's never seen anything like it. Weekly consolidation at a high level. I kind of do like this long term. Monthly still good long term. I mean, this one's just, oh Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, this is one of those mega bullish macro stocks. Very fucking good here, man. Monthly says that we continue to new all-time highs over the rest of summer. Monthly RSI hidden bullish divergence back in the bullish control zone. Monthly TSI is extremely aggressive right there, but do I think that we have more on this one? Probably yes. Looking at a quarterly, really fucking good here too. There is nothing bearish about closing on new all-time highs. Quarterly RSI hidden bullish divergence at an extremely high level. I mean, I don't barely ever see something like that. So this one's strong as all hell. Any sort of a closure at the end of this month above 380, and I'd be looking for this one to melt for a little bit of new all-time highs. Now, of course, this chart is really extended, no doubt about that, but I do think that it will extend the gains, probably over the next like half year or so. Depends what time frame you're looking at though. And you are looking at the monthly. Okay, you are looking at the monthly, so this is relevant to you. Generally speaking, I would be bullish on this one. On a weekly, could you play at a range back down to like 350? Yeah, potentially yes, but we do have a very obvious range going on right here too, and we can derive a little bit of areas of interest to the upside on the next potential macro breakout, which about 410 to 420, great number right there actually, would be a good sort of short-term stopping point, but typically you don't see tops around that region. You'll see tops very likely at around 480 to 500-ish region, a nice like round psychological even number there as well. So I do think this one has a very likely good rest of the year and probably even into next year as well, and then I'd be looking for a little bit of weakness around those major levels. Okay, Chase LeBlanc says, Krown, NNDM, please. All right, NNDM, what is this one? What is this one? Nano Dimensions. Okay, all right, let's see what we got here. Oh, motherfucker, man, Jesus Christ. We got a straight down chart now. Let's see what it looks like on log scale. It doesn't look as bad on log scale, to be fair. Do we have a change of behavior here? Do we have anything that is remotely promising about this? Well, first off, let me see what time frame you're looking for. You did not include a time frame, so I'm going to go with higher time frames on this one because that actually will just a little bit, at the very least, short-term upside, probably back up to about 930, 925 region. Weekly actually does have some pretty damn good signals going on right here. Hidden bullish divergence, rejection of the bearish control zone and up. I'm always going to like that alongside a trend reversal and weekly TSI looking like it could freshly turn up around the bullish buy zone as well. Coming into next week, I probably would be looking for a move back up to about 9.25. Potential extension, depending upon how we close this month, up to about 12.5 or so. Let's see what the monthly looks like. Speaking of, yeah, monthly is not too helpful just yet, but I do like how the weekly actually has put in a higher low. And do we have higher highs on this one as well? We do. So fair enough. Yeah, I would favor the upside here, but again, depends what time frame you're looking at. If you're looking at a daily, actually pretty damn good on a daily. Yeah, I would be bullish on this. On this one, daily, weekly, monthly. If you're going to like very low term time frames, yeah, still looks fine here too. 4 hour, 9.25-ish region I'd be looking towards. Still play at a little bit of a short-term range there, however. All right, M, the Legend LEZs. What's up, man? Sir, my June 25th silver calls went from into profit to gap open below my stop loss and break-even point. Can we get the latest on daily, weekly? Okay, I don't think that too much is going to be changing here on the daily, weekly, unless if this one's completely broken. Oh, wow. No, we are right on. Oh, this is what we spoke about yesterday. This is what we spoke about yesterday. Probably another test back down to the bottom side support on this one. Okay, so let me just read out exactly what you said because there's a lot in this. Okay, sir, my June 25th silver calls went from. Okay, so first things first, because I do know you, I'm going to speak a little bit more directly towards you. If you have calls, or if you have any options for that matter, expiring on June 25th, like a week out, the best thing to do is to fucking close them or roll them because they're all premium at this point, man. They're all fucking premium. And realistically, you were consulting here the whole way around. I believe you asked about this yesterday, and we did say that this one was likely to come back down around the $24.5 to $25 level. Looks like it actually even overshot that, which is not good. Monthly, I still don't hate long term. I'm not going to hate something that looks like this, especially after a very long form accumulation. I don't have any major issues with this, to be honest with you, but this would have been the opportunity right here. So, and I'm not trying to like talk downwards towards you, but going back to yesterday, and of course we can't like replay the day, but just for the future, we get into a situation like that when you're, a week, sometimes even 2 weeks out from your, from your expiration, depending upon where you took them. And I happen to know that you've had this position on for a long time. It's best if you really want to keep them, you fucking roll them to, a further out month. But in my experience, it's best to either close them or in some cases even exercise them. But in this case right here, you know, if you would have done that yesterday or even just earlier this week, then you would have had opportunity right here, which is where we were kind of looking from yesterday. So besides that, obviously we can't change the past in this case. I would be looking for a bounce here. Do I think that you're going to be absolutely fucked? Well, I don't know what strike you bought, and I don't know how much you paid for it, so it's hard to say. But I don't hate this chart long term, but can it spend some time going sideways here? Yes, absolutely. The only portion where I'd really start to get actually bearish on this would be below about $23. Below about $23, you do lose your structure, and I would be looking for big moves to the downside after that. I mean, at the very least $21. It doesn't sound like too crazy right there, but that would be a pretty damn crazy move for silver, of course. Very likely a bounce there, and then you have to kind of call into question this whole sort of first markup phase, which would look pretty wrecked after that too. But I don't think that that's what's happening, to be honest with you. In fact, we go over here to the quarterly. Let's see what this one looks like, and we got some bullshit. We got some that's not very helpful. What about a 6 month? Yeah, 6 months. 6 months just looks okay as well. So I'm a little bit more inclined to say that this one. You know, at least I'd give it the benefit of the doubt here. I'm actually curious to see what it looks like over here, because this one does play rather well with gold, of course. And I'm not really getting anything too obvious. Let's see what momentum also to say on this chart. Not much. Let's see what the monthly says right here. Monthly still okay. Yeah, I'd still give it the benefit of the doubt long term. I mean, you're just kind of testing the low side of this, you know, of this ascending triangle. So I gave it a chance to bounce first. Abitamic says, that was great, spot is fine. I have a buy at 1730. That's the area I liked as well, but then Dixie happened. Much love, hope you have an excellent weekend. Yeah, man, good plan right there. I mean, that's like the obvious trade, right? You know, right now for myself, and I know a lot of the people as well, like when things are boring, you don't like look for reasons to get into a trade, you look for an obvious trade. And that's one of the things that I actually struggled with a lot when I first got into trading, is like thinking that I always had to have a trade on and always had to be doing something. And realistically, like if it ain't fucking obvious, like it should always be obvious with your edge. It's either there or it's not, and if it's not there, you don't fucking trade. And on gold, you got you do have a bit of an obvious trade, at least for a little bit of a short-term bounce. I wouldn't count on anything more than that. I don't think that right now is the time to be like putting on major massive risk. For example, this is probably going to take some time to resolve itself. But the way that Bitcoin is looking, oh Jesus Christ, man, that is just, ooh, man, oh man, oh man, looks like shit, sir. All right, Go Lucky says, hi, bruv. I see a descending triangle for doggy on the daily. Is this true? Appreciate it. All right, let's check it out. I think I already have it charted, maybe. Let's see. We got it on Binance right here, and you're looking at a daily, you say. Do we have a descending triangle? We don't really have a descending triangle just yet, actually. We do have a bit of a sloppy chart, though, is what we have. Let's see, do I have trend lines already on here? It looks like I do, but those are not the ones that are even relevant to our current price action. So you got a pretty damn obvious area right here. It looks like most altcoins, to be honest with you, man, like a lot of them are just doing this low lull at the lulls, and I don't like that kind of a move. I mean, that's obviously what typically does lead into a breakdown. We got the 21 inevitably crossing the downside of the 55. This one doesn't get a rally within the next couple days back above 33 cents. And momentum oscillators are saying what? We see daily TSI still downside angle. Daily RSI is actually just neutral to bullish, actually, if anything, which is rather interesting. So, you know, the longer that I can kind of glide here without actually breaking down below about 29.5 cent, I suppose the better. But you do have an obvious range. I would not call this a descending triangle, however. Let me just double check that I actually know exactly what you're looking for. Yeah, you're speaking about the daily. So no, and believe me, man, I'd actually love to be bearish on this one, but I don't see a descending triangle here. Maybe on like a lower term time frame. Yeah, right here. I mean, you got a little bit of problems, but obviously, if you see it on a 4 hour, not on a daily, it's not going to be the same result. But if you are looking at it right here, that would be it, for example. But on a daily, I mean, you just have this high right here, and then I'd be looking for like a lower high somewhere around like mid to upper 30 cent region before really looking at that as something reasonable. Okay. Oh, and we should also talk about downside targets as well. I mean, if this one does break below 29.5 cent, I would be looking for this one to come all the way down to about 25 cent or so. Just a nice even quarter. Let's see what the monthly looks like as well. I'm just curious here. How's this one holding? Holy fuck, that is that is deathly, man. That is so deathly right there. Well, I think that one just kind of speaks for itself. All right, let's see. Pablo Sal says, bonjour, Krown. What's up, man? I have some new core calls for next week that are in the red. Some for the next 3 weeks, up 30%. Need to reshuffle soon. Your thoughts, hourly, daily. Actually, the conversation we were having earlier is very much relevant to that. when you come closer and closer to expiration, like, about 2 weeks before, I believe studies have shown, premium really starts to decay rather fast. And so if you are, that's why I really don't like holding long options, as you're playing a race against time. Now, here's the thing. Long term, do I think that you're on the right side of the trade? Yeah, I mean, this is a damn good chart long term if you're looking at a monthly, but you're talking specifically about June monthly calls that are about to expire on the 25th. So you got about a week from now. And I don't think you included the strike. Yeah, you didn't include the strike. So I don't really know where to go with that. Actually would be looking for a short-term bounce off this level right here, to be fair. Weekly, same thing. I think whether you're bullish or bearish, you do look for a bounce back up somewhere around $100. So I don't know if that means much for your position at all, but remember, we've been looking at this one for a while now at your request. And long term, I stick with what I've been saying. This one's long term bullish, no doubt. And short term, I believe we did say that this one was likely to pull back and go sideways yesterday as well. And I mean, that just seems to me what we're doing right now. So while I would be looking for maybe a little bit of a bounce off this level that we're currently basing off here, anywhere up into like the deeper 90s, 97 to $100 is fair game. I do think you're going to spend some more time going sideways within this region overall coming in next month. So take that as you will, because time obviously is going to be a component of what you're doing. And if you are, let's see, you said for the next 3 weeks. Okay, so yeah, you're like 3 weeks out. So you got to be looking at a monthly in this case. Tough one, man. Let me go to a quarterly right here. Yeah, I still do like a long term, but does it happen next month within those next 3 weeks? That's where you kind of stump me. I mean, to me, it looks like it's range bound for the next couple of weeks, to be honest with you. So take that as you will, man. But I would consider, it always feels good to take profit, man. If you were holding these for like a long period of time, like let's say, 3 months to 6 months out, then we could use the monthly, and then that makes a lot more sense. I'd be very bullish on that. And I believe we still do have like major targets way the fuck out there. Let's actually double check on this one. I just want to see. Yeah, and we are selling off on the 414 test right here. So this one, and it already has played down to the 1272, which typically is going to be your range. So let's actually just mark these areas off. Let me just, do we want to do on this one or this one? I mean, it's literally the same thing, but this one looks a little bit more easy on the eyes, I think. There we go. Let's actually fit this for a monthly right here too, so we can get these targets. Sounds like you are very, 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 very long term here. Okay, let's get rid of that one. There we go, right there. Let's mark this area off as well. Okay, beautiful. Well, not exactly right there. Let me get it right on the 414. Okay, lovely. Now we got it for the monthly. Long term, yeah, I do think that it goes up to 190, or sorry, not 190, but 150-ish region. Short term, though, if you're talking about the next 3 weeks, I'll just be looking for a range between here. I don't think you're going to be doing all that much interesting stuff, at least in the next week or two, it looks like. I mean, this one's, this one's getting its first pullback, a little bit of profit taking after the mega macro breakout. So I'd be looking for a little bit of time to transpire. Again, remember, this one took 12 fucking years to consolidate here. 12 fucking years to consolidate. So it's reasonable to expect this is going to take a little bit of time on the actual result. All right, sweet. Nero Strutton says, I know it's pretty new, but can you check out UPST 4 hour-ish? Okay. All right, how new is pretty new, man? Upstart Holdings, this one right here, or is this crypto? It is not a crypto, it's a real stock. All right, sweet. 4 hour right here, we have a nice, beautiful uptrend. Now, of course, it is definitely lacking a lot of history, obviously, but short term, yeah, I'd be looking for some upside. 136, 137 region, I'd be looking towards any sort of a 4 hour close there, and not extend targets significantly up to about 150 to, about 150-ish region. So take that as you will, but yeah, looking pretty damn decent right there. Let's see, do we have hidden bullish evidence as well? Actually, we will. This is a higher low, and we have lower lows on the RSI. Yep. I do like that, actually. Yep, I'd be looking for next move, short term up. Looks actually decent there. Okay, cool. Benny B says, look at MicroStrategy during the .com era. This time is different. Let's see exactly what you're talking about first. I imagine it's probably not going to be too pretty around .com era, but let's double check just to see. Yeah, this was 2000 over here. So you're asking, okay, so let me dial in exactly what you're asking to begin with. You're saying, look at MicroStrategy during the .com era, this time different. Well, what is different about this time, or what is the same situation? I mean, in this situation over here, you had the .com bubble. In this situation over here, what do you have? I mean, you have the coronavirus bubble, if you want to call it that. No, I do think that this one is more structurally sound over here. This one is like your first sort of ICO pump. Like if you're familiar with a lot of these bullshit cryptocurrencies, when they first list, they typically pump really, really high, in line with just being a part of that, sector of the market. And then when the inevitable happens, it dumps back down. This to me is the culmination of of about 20 years of a very sloppy but technically significant 20-year long accumulation here. So do I think that this time is different? I don't think that they're the same scenarios, if that's what you're asking. I don't think that they're the same scenario in this case. As far as MicroStrategy goes, I actually don't hate it on the monthly, and I don't hate it on the quarterly, of which we're closing both at the end of this month, and also a bi-yearly as well. Bi-yearly is a little bit more nasty, but if we go down to the shorter term timeframes, I mean, this looks, you know, this is your bear trap. This is what I was hoping was going to happen on Bitcoin. We didn't get that. Instead, we just got a rejection rate here, if anything. So it's very bizarre to see this. It's very bizarre to see this for myself, because you would think that Bitcoin leads MicroStrategy. And in this case, I mean, if we do move up from here, then you have to say that MicroStrategy is leading Bitcoin. And they obviously are going to be correlated with each other, as, you know, MicroStrategy is just one massive, in some ways, an ETF for Bitcoin. So this one going up here and actually breaking that range is a good thing. Definitely. I mean, this would be what you would expect of like $50,000 Bitcoin, right? So to me, this is a completely different chart, and I'm actually not sure what to make of it, but I would be bullish on MicroStrategy on the daily. And in long term, you know, again, assuming that the monthly just holds anywhere here or higher, I think it's actually fine. So I don't think that they're two comparable situations. I think they're actually different situations. Anyways, let's see. Nero Strutton says, bruh, how many times do you eat red meat per week? Literally every day, twice a day, actually. And I eat nothing else too. Like nothing, no fucking green shit. Just red meat, sir. And some antibiotics recently too. They're fucking awful, man. I gotta tell you, just absolutely wrecking my world this last week that I've had to take them. Skylar says, sir, I hope you're well. Yeah, man, it's all good. Got a good night of sleep. Just dealing with these last damn antibiotics here, which are absolutely wrecking my gut. Time firm, is that it? To trade, or time frame to trade in the range, and why? What do you mean? What do you mean by, hold on, I don't know. Oh, I missed the first word there. Favorite time frame to trade in the range, and why? What's my favorite time frame to trade? It depends what market, right? So for cryptocurrencies, I do kind of like the 4 hour. You know, it gives you enough signals per day, generally speaking, to like keep you busy, and usually those signals are decent enough. Now, if I'm trading traditional markets or Forex, I actually like lower time frames. Like an hourly is pretty damn good, but I'll even go to like a 5 and 15 minute in Forex and in traditional. I mean, that's actually how I made my living in traditional land years ago. So those are a lot different, obviously, because they are not 24/7 markets. They are more like 6.5 hours a day for 5 days a week. And you can almost make a corollary between them too. It would almost amount to like an hourly in traditional markets would be about the same, not exactly the same, but about the same as a 4 hour in cryptocurrency land. So I like those as kind of like, you know, good intraday timeframes. And then if I really want to trade the short-term timeframes, I'll go to Forex or traditional world, of which I haven't gone to traditional world in a long time now. Just Forex actually. So fair enough there. All right, cool. Yol Harrell says, haven't seen any Hex Maxis in the chat. Bear mark confirmed. ZM, please, and thank you, sir. Yeah, man, I haven't seen a little bit of them as well, but I actually do want to be on the record as saying, like, look, man, I actually spoke with a few of them one-on-one, and they're very reasonable people, very, very nice people, and I have nothing bad to say, like, at all, man. It just takes a few bad apples kind of, you know, be, well, I'll just ruin it for everyone, but whatever, man. It's always best to move past stuff like that. And as far as this chart goes right here, good, very good. But let me see, am I... Okay, yes, I am looking at the right thing. Zoom. Yeah, I'd be looking for this one to pop up somewhere around the 200 simple here, 390-ish region, very likely. Long term, I like it. Long term, actually like it a lot. So while I do think that short term, you probably get a little bit of a pullback there. Weekly RSI tells the story. Weekly TSI, also same thing, freshly crossing up here. Actually, really like this one. I would be looking for it to trade up north of 420 to 440-ish region over the next month or two. It looks very good, actually. Long term, that is, as you would expect for something that is more or less playing into the digital informational age taking over and the industrial age going away with our lovely Zoom calls over here. It actually even has a golden cross on the daily inbound as well, which is looking actually rather healthy. All momentum oscillators are kind of operating in the same direction. We see daily BBWP expanding in a confirmation of an uptrend on the daily as well. Yep, I favor the upside here pretty much on all time frames that matter, daily, weekly, monthly, all looking good right there. With those pivots in mind. So yeah, about 390, then 430 to 440 it looks like. All right, cool. We got Splorkio says, I'm looking at Luna USDT on the 4 hour. It appears that it made a higher low and it has potential for moving up to a higher high. Thoughts? All right, let's see. Can't have a trend reversal without both now, can you? That's Lunda. Jesus Christ, man. God damn it, I can't get anything out right today. Dear Lord. All right, here we go. Binance. Okay, so did it put in a higher low? No, it has not put in a higher low just yet. It will be a higher low if you do take out this little short-term consolidation right here, which I imagine is going to be a lot more visible on the 4-hour. Yeah, on the 4-hour it does look okay, and on the 4-hour you would have higher lows. But let's see. Oh, you did ask about the 4-hour. Okay, yes, you are correct then. You are correct, sir. So you got a very obvious range going on right here, and the short-term bias would be to the upside as long as this essentially holds. We do have hidden bullish divergence come off that last low. BBWP is very low here, so we're probably looking for a move outside of this range today, anywhere above about 660, and I'll start to look for a move up to the 200 simple here, or wherever the next relevant region is, which is the top side of the range at about 728, 730-ish region. So fair enough there, but you know, this one seems to be a little bit less tethered to the price of Bitcoin than most other altcoins, which is rather interesting, at least in the short-term timeframes. So keep an eye on that. Now, of course, on the other side, if this Luna breaks below about 610, I'd be looking for a retest somewhere right around about mid fives, like 550 to 560-ish region. Again, it'll probably be a little more obvious on Bitcoin too. You know, Bitcoin takes out essentially the last 4-hour low. I'd be looking for that to happen essentially. And it's actually looking pretty damn droopy right there. In fact, if we go back down to the hourly, I mean, this does not look like the picture of health and fitness. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, man. Like, even if I go over here to my CME chart, I see a lot of people doing this, actually. I do see a lot of people doing this, and I want to briefly talk about this for a second here, too. A lot of people are looking at this as like a retest of the breakout. This is not a retest of the breakout, or at least this is not a retest of a breakout that you'd want to buy. The reason why I say that is because you'd expect to see like actual volume fall through on a breakout like this to actually confirm it. And then if things come back down in like a low volume manner, then, you know, typically it is going to be a good retest, and, you know, in that case, a bullish retest. We don't really see that right here, or at least it's certainly not obvious, which you want it to be very much obvious in those cases. And I suspect that I'm not so sure about that one, man. Yeah, you got plenty of things coming in right around where we're currently at, but goddamn, man, goddamn, I think for myself it's time to wait and watch. Time to wait and watch. What's up, sir? An important announcement. What could that be? Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Finally, motherfucker, a compliment. The Legend.LZ says, I know you hate them AMD, but you can't hate weekly chart. As far as charts go, man, I haven't hated this chart in a long time, but as far as their products go, I absolutely despise them. Weekly AMD, yep, very, very good. Very fucking good. Very, very good here. Very, very good. Had a chance to break down on this head and shoulders. Nope. Rejection, or not even a rejection, but this one is this one is very obviously reaccumulation. Yeah, I'd be looking for a move back up to $90 and probably even resolves itself to the upside. We did have potential problems below about 70, what was it, $74, never was taken, and this is just looking like a nice flagging out formation at a very high level. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing, you know, maybe later this year try up, you know, definitely north of $100, but even like $125, $130 is certainly not out of the question. This is very good, very fucking good right there. Let's see, where was I getting this from? Hold on, we can actually make this as a flag, and that would be right up to the 414. So first move probably does head up towards about 109, 110 region, plays between there and about 106 and 110. Now this is long term, obviously. You're talking about like a weekly, monthly here. So, you know, realistically probably spends a little bit of time. I mean, it's not happening today, but daily's good. Daily's good on you know, on the short-term reversal right here. Nice higher low and higher high. Yep, I'd be looking for this one to pop up a little bit more. Looks good. Looks very, very good actually. Can't hate the chart at all, man. Can't hate the chart at all, even though I really want to, because I fucking hate their products, man. Just the worst. Quarterly, a little bit less obvious, but I'd give it the benefit of the doubt here too. Looking good into the end of the month. SD Hodl says, can we take a look at ASPS weekly monthly? Sure. What is this thing? A lot of stocks today, which is good. It's very good. Wow, terrible. Holy shit, this is bad. Now, what time frame are you looking at? Weekly, monthly. Okay, so you're on very high term time frames. I'm on a quarterly right there. Weekly, I'd be looking for it to range between, you know, $7.50 highs and its current low, structured about 615, 620-ish region. I don't think you're doing anything too obvious, too interesting right there, to be honest with you. Momentum oscillators are a little bit more in line with another try for a bounce out of this region, however. So it's not, I don't think it's going to break down exactly from here. Long term, I despise this chart. Very bad chart long term. Monthly says, you know, if the weekly wants to bounce up, maybe 9.25, but I would be on lower high watch there as well. Potential regular bullish evidence here if it can't confirm a low, but it doesn't look like it wants to do that. I'm curious what the bi-monthly looks like. Yeah, not too hot as well. So while the weekly probably does have another bounce within it, I don't like it, man. There's nothing really bullish about a chart. about this chart as long as it's below about 1475 region long term, and it sounds like you are long term, asking about a weekly or monthly. Yeah, pretty fucking awful right there. I mean, this one's been beat to shit, and it looks like it wants to be even more beat to shit. Here's a real chart too. I mean, this is a linear scale here, and this one used to trade at the glorious price of 160, now trading at $7. That's not a good sign usually, especially when, you know, most things in this market were just going moon mode and beyond. I think this one is Altisource Portfolio Solutions, so it sounds like it's some sort of financial. Yeah, I mean, the financials were having a mostly good like last few years, and this one not so much. And the easier way to kind of know this is if you just flip this chart. I mean, this is massively bullish right here, right? Massively fucking bullish. So long term, I'd actually be quite bearish on it. You know, if you're looking at it weekly, maybe it gets another bounce back up, maybe somewhere around $9, but even that might be a little bit that might be a little bit too much hopium as well. All right, cool. Stevie K says, Sir Krown, can we take a look at Litecoin 4-hour daily? Sir Bollinger says it's getting squeezed. I initially thought up, but now it looks bleak. And why do you call Elsa Sir, good sir? She is Sir, and and I am Little Sir, and she meets Little Sir every night. Anyways, all right, so you're looking at Litecoin here, right? And apparently John Bollinger made a commentary on it. Yeah, you know, look. Okay, let's see what he was looking at on his charts over here on the old Troller bounds. I mean, obviously it's consolidating right here. It's not really doing anything too particularly interesting on its own. It's definitely of the weaker variety of altcoins right now. You see a very clear and obvious lower high structure coming in from here. Last few highs, 1, 2, 3. It's usually not a good sign. Same lows right here. So we could say that this one, you know, pretty much does have a descending triangle in it. Does it bounce up and try for another move back up to like 175, maybe even all the way up to 180 first? Maybe yes, but ultimately this chart on its own would be bearish, similar to a lot of other altcoin charts like Ethereum, like I think we saw Ripple, like we saw, actually not Monero, funnily enough, Monero looked pretty damn good, BNB and the likes, you know, all of those pretty much of the same accord here. So is it getting squeezed? Yes, it is getting squeezed, but I think you might have misunderstood what he meant by that. When you're talking about squeezing within the context of Trollinger bands, you're talking about a contracting volatility range, and you're essentially talking about a consolidation. So you probably, or if I had to guess, you might have misinterpreted his use of that term squeeze as like a short squeeze or a long squeeze. That's not what he means right there. He's very likely talking about his indicator, which is squeezing. This is what is called, like the Trollinger bands are squeezing here, which tells you that we're consolidating and looking for a resolution relatively soon. It's not like a short squeeze, essentially, which is what I think you were probably saying. Anyways, on a 4-hour, looks like shit. On a daily, looks like shit. On a weekly, also looks like shit as well. And on a monthly, I'm actually kind of undecided. I'm not really bearish on something that's like still above the non-exponential moving average there. So maybe long term it does pull through. But look, you know, a lot of these altcoins, they can look like absolute shit, and then if Bitcoin puts in a nice girthy green dildo, they'll follow, of course. So I do think that it's more relevant to watch Bitcoin. But looking at Bitcoin right here, man, this is, I mean, this one's already reapproaching our current lows. Sir, you all right? You all right over there? Elsa's having a really good time. Elsa's having a really good time right now. And shit, I mean, that bounce was fucking, that bounce was, wow. Do we even have a bounce? Is there even a bounce? Have bounces been bammed? Oh my God, another drive of hidden bearish evidence. Say what? Yes, Little Sir. Don't you know, Little Sir? Be respectful to Little Sir, or there will be consequences that will never be the same. Yeah, man. So, you know, again, Bitcoin just kind of keeling over here too is not going to act too well for the altcoins. If I'm shooting you straight, man, I don't think it looks too hot, but still a long day left to go. Pablo South says, and let me just see. Okay, yeah, okay, got all that. Pablo South says, Elon Musk left the Mimi Stocks chat AMC hourly daily. All right, let's check it out. AMC, this one is of the meme stock variety, similar to GameStop, and I think BlackBerry was the most recent one. GameStop looked like it finally has done its thing, but AMC, we did say, was likely to have not stopped just yet, and it looks like that is the right call. This one is continuing to have a nice little healthy consolidation right here. I don't know if it's ready to break out just yet, but it does look good, and I do think that this one still has some more upside long term. Breakout's obviously going to be above about 64 and a quarter. and I'd be looking at price targets somewhere around like $80 or so. This one's actually going to start to look pretty damn good, and I do think that it probably does reach up towards there. See what the weekly looks like as well. Yeah, the weekly is not bearish, especially coming into today's closure. I like it, man. Again, I don't want to like these stocks because I think that this is like a silly game to be played. You know that Texas saying, like, play stupid games, win stupid prizes? That is what I think about like a GameStop or an AMC and shit like that. What I would suggest doing, though, if you are really interested in analysis on this one, you should check out someone who actually focuses primarily on this, like Rocky Outcrop, who's a pretty damn good guy and has a pretty damn good hold on these ones. But, you know, I have the general disposition on this one as I do in GameStop. But GameStop's obviously a lot more mature because that one happened like what, 6 months ago now, or it's been some time. Anyways, you know, yeah, you're going to see some more up from here. You know, this one can get crazy. I mean, maybe even go to $100. I mean, it's certainly not out of the question. However, long term, the slow bleed will inevitably occur, and this one will inevitably come down below $20. Just like GameStop, which is, you know, destined to come back down below $50 and then $20, which I just want to do the daily perusal on this one. Yeah, GameStop definitely losing its luster over here. So I do still feel pretty validated by that call that this one's going to go sideways. It's going to bore the absolute ever-loving shit out of you in the worst way possible. So this can take a half year to maybe even 2 years, but the games that can be played in this, you know, in something like this, are just going to draw it out into infinity. And I do suspect that you've probably seen the highs. However, it's going to bounce around here. It's going to make you second guess yourself. Probably even tries back up north of like 250 or even 270, but long term, it's not good, man. Hey, what's up, Derek? I will indeed do that. I will indeed do that, my friend. I like the sounds of that, sir. Anyways, yeah, man, you know, same sort of thing over here, but just like GameStop, you know, it did have a nice run before the inevitable did happen. So I suspect the same thing on AMC as well. I do think that this one still has some upside here, to be fair. And realistically, there's no real target to be made on something like this. I do think it's actually possible to get $100 and then look for some. It'll be very obvious when you see some sort of a weakness. You'll see some just major, massive, just absolutely catastrophic selling event, and from there expect a slow bleed out similar to what you see on GameStop coming in here. Okay, cool. Let's see. CG3 says Sync versus Wrapped Ethereum. Okay. All right. All right, let's see what we got here. What could this be? All right, well, we got some on Uniswap, so that should be it. It actually has a decent amount of history here. The history for it is terrible. It looks like a complete pumping up, but let's see what you're asking exactly. Okay, 1 day through weekly crypto bonds locked in NFT art, up more than 20% since entry, but tempted to make this my new pet rock. I mean, if you've like done the research into the fundamentals and you truly believe in it, then that's a different game. Understand that that's not the game that I'm playing. You are, while this is quite literally a pump and dump, this is a chart of a pump and dump. You are around the areas that you typically do get your pumps from, so you know, take that in consideration. But understand that if this thing gets back up, you know, anywhere north of 750,000 butyrols, it's really time to be thinking about this time is maybe not different, you know. So that you know, this is what a pump and dump looks like. But are you getting ready for another pump phase? It actually kind of looks like so. Yes, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing march up towards 400,000 butyrols, maybe even more than that. But over the long period of time, I would not expect anything different than, you know, your proverbial pump and then subsequent dump. So here, next move very likely is up. See what the low term time frame say, just out of curiosity. Yeah, this one barely trades. It's going to be difficult to do, but I would favor the upside here. I do think you're getting ready for another one of those epic pumps and then probably another epic dump, sir. Okay. Cole Evans says, Krown, please find something bullish for Cardano versus USD. Let's see. We'll do our best, man. We'll do our best. I tried my best for Bitcoin, but Bitcoin doesn't want to play. Let's see. We got, let's see. What time frame did you say? Yeah, you said 1 hour and up as you see fit, sir. It got pretty close to testing bottom support today. I mean, I would say that it did test bottom support today. You know, here's the thing. We should give Cardano its merits where merits are due. And to be fair, you know, you do have a very easy trade here too, in the same way that you do on Ethereum and by extension Bitcoin as well. Look, if you take out this last lower high right around 157, I would be bullish on this one for a retest back around 180ish region, and probably back up to $2 after that. Same shit as what I've been saying for the last few days here. But This one, very similar to Ethereum, is more or less based on the lows once again, which is typically not how you create your uptrends in my experience. Anyways, we'll start off with the hourly as you asked for. Let's see, hourly. Are we looking for a bounce here? Yeah, I think I think it'd be relevant to be looking for a bounce, maybe back up to 150 or so. But that's an hourly, man. That doesn't really change around the daily picture. 4 hour looks like garbage, actually. All major moving averages are bearish. 12 hour is switching around a bit. Again, you do have a very obvious base right around 142 and a quarter, but below there, man, there's not really any more excuses for this one to be made. Here's your biggest bull hopium, actually. Your biggest bull hopium, or at least what I would say is the biggest bull hopium, is that you continue to go sideways within this range, based off of the same levels. And the monthly is what I'd be looking at right here, because the monthly is just a backfill. Last month, closing like this is typically a continuation drive, and I imagine the quarterly is probably also pretty damn good. No, it's not actually, but this would be considered the first pullback after new all-time highs on the quarterly, and typically that is going to align with some sideways, and then very likely another try in that same direction. But that can take a long time, so it really depends how long of a time horizon you have. Here's the bi-yearly, which also closed at the end of this month, and this would also be pretty damn good. But it does offer up a rather wide range, and this thing could very easily dump down to like 75 cents if the market does want to drop off the current lows. And I'd still be looking at that like as a very long-term opportunity. But if you're asking specifically about an hourly, I don't have too much to say about an hourly that you don't already know. I mean, it does look like it wants a little bit of a bounce here. Anywhere back around 150 is fair game, but all the other higher term time frames are, well, it's not necessarily that they're painting a bad or great picture. It's just I need to see this area taken out first here before I get like medium term bullish on a daily, right? I need to see 157.5 get just ticked above in this case. If that were to happen, yeah, okay, you got another chance back up to the tops of the daily range. But for right now, man, grinding out your lows is typically not the best thing. So I would hold my breath a little bit longer, but at the end of the day, again, fuck that. I fucking hate that I use that terminology too much, but at the end of the day, and I'll use it one more time, it's Bitcoin that's going to decide the direction here, man. If Bitcoin breaks its current lows, it will be very nasty for most coins within this market. Not everything. We do see some things doing their own thing, but in general, it'll be pretty fucking nasty. So pray for Bitcoin to put in a bit of a higher low right here. Pray to Bula Jesus, although lower term time frames are not looking like that, to be honest with you. Okay, cool. We got that. Jack. Hey, what's up, Jack? Good morning to you. Ethereum, Bitcoin, 12 hour and weekly. Yes. Okay, so I got a really good question about this yesterday from someone in the comments who said, Krown, I'm confused with your Ethereum analysis. You said that there's nothing bearish about the chart, but you started talking about bearish things. Understand when I'm talking about nothing bearish about this chart, I'm talking about like, the bi-yearly. I'm talking about the quarterly, and I'm talking about the monthly. These are very good charts, objectively speaking. I do like these, and I would be long-term bullish on this. Yes, assuming that we don't catastrophically drop below like 5 million satoshis by end of this month. I don't think that's going to happen here, but that would be my condition for something really, really nasty. Now, as far as the short-term timeframes go, I mean, I believe that we did call a move down here to the low 6 million satoshi region, which we've gotten it thus far, and I would give it a chance to bounce here. I do think it actually will bounce on the daily back up to about 6.4 million on the very short-term timeframes. It looks pretty ugly here, no doubt about that. Actually looks very fucking ugly here, to be honest with you, but I'm mostly going off of daily levels right here, because you are on major regions like the daily, like the weekly, testing down to the 10 simple, and of course it's the monthly that I really have a big focus on for the very long term. So it really depends where you're angled towards. If you're looking at a 12 hour, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I mean, sideways at best. You got a very obvious low structure right here. If this area does, oh Jesus Christ, man, this one's way too convoluted now. We need this area right here. We need this area right here. And short term, you probably want this area right here. And if this one does want to drop out the lows, I'd be looking for another move down to 5.6 million satoshis. Probably, I would hope that doesn't happen for Ethereum's sake, but with the way that Bitcoin dominance is looking, man, if Bitcoin just sneezes above or below the greater range, Bitcoin dominance will expand, will continue with its uptrend, and this thing will very likely come down to those levels. But that's a situational thing in this case. So it depends. Like if you're looking at the very high term timeframes, I stick with what I've been saying. I am not bearish on any chart that looks like this at all. I'm certainly not bearish on a chart that looks like, let's actually see the bi-weekly. Yeah, bi-weekly is a backfill. I don't have any issues with that as well. What about bi-monthly? yeah, I don't have major issues with this as well long term. So if you're thinking very long term, I like it. If you're thinking short term, sideways. Sideways, and probably the next move actually does come to the upside, but very, very muted here. Okay, cool. Mark Cuban's in the chat. Holy shit, and you're Canadian too. What the hell? Are you actually Canadian or not? Mr. Krown, can we let Canadians own NBA teams? What the fuck is this? Mr. Krown, can we take a look at ATA and BNB? Okay, I don't think I've heard ATA being called out before. Are you talking about this stock, or are you talking about that? I'm guessing you're probably talking about the crypto, because you're asking about BNB as well. Okay, let's see. What time frames? You're looking at weekly, daily. All right, so we'll look at 4 hour first. Bad. Looking at daily, there's really not enough history here to analyze this one accurately. There's not a weekly chart to be looked at as well. If I'm looking at short-term timeframes, it looks pretty shitty. I'd probably be looking for this one to dump back down towards 70 cents or so, 71 cents, anywhere around there is all good as far as the short-term timeframes go. But I don't have a daily or weekly to give you, man. It's too young. BNB, we can definitely look at that one. I think we looked at it just ever so briefly earlier, and let's see what we got here. Yeah, another altcoin that just looks the same as pretty much all of their altcoins, right? They're all basing around their lows. This one's not as bad, I guess, but it's the same analysis here. Look, as long as you're below this lower high at about 370-ish region, it's a hard chart to love. That also does mean if you can pop above 370, I would look for a retest of the range highs, and probably actually does go for a bit of a run up to about maybe even $500 overall if you do take out this area right here. But again, man, this one is very unlikely to move on its own. It seems more or less tethered to the rest of the market. Even on the 4 hour right here is getting rejected thus far, which is not a good sign, especially with BBWP looking to expand. And this is, within the context of very likely, within the context of a downtrend here. So, not a humongous fan of it, man. But again, if Bitcoin moves to the upside, if Bitcoin let's see, do we have any obvious areas for Bitcoin here on the short-term timeframes? Jesus Christ, even this is a monstrosity. It's what, 38,000 bucks going to be your continuation point now? Oh my God, pathetic, fucking pathetic. But I suppose if Bitcoin were to do something like that and it goes on for another $1,000 run or so, then yeah, you look for a bit of a short-term up in BNB. But if I'm looking at the higher term timeframes, man, it looks like most altcoins, which are not looking like very healthy. Looking at daily TSI, it's not curling down just yet, but a closure below about 340 will do it. And where are we right now? 350. Okay, where's 340 as far as price action goes? Basically below yesterday's low, actually. Yeah, 345 yesterday low, and the day prior is 343. Yeah, anywhere below there. And I'd be looking for extension down to 300, actually, at that point. Doesn't look too great. Doesn't look too great there. What about 2 day? Same thing. Base at about 320. 3 day, same thing, base at about 320. 5 day, sloppy. I don't have much from the 5 day actually. So there you go, Mr. CZ. Free CZ. Boris Rusky says, "Sir, can you please Splunk SPLK? Holy fuck, man." SPLK and FireEye, FEYE were the first stocks that I ever traded in traditional land, I believe. Yeah, I think so. And MDVN, Medivation, I think it was. Those were like the 3 ones that I first traded. Let's see, where is this one now? Holy fuck! This one's at 126? Man, I traded this way the fuck back on over here when it like first came out. Oh my God, man, that is so crazy. That is so crazy. Yeah, man, I traded this thing when it was like 25 bucks. Holy shit. Actually like it right here for a higher low. I'd be looking for this one to pop up somewhere right around like 135 or so on the weekly. But what time frames are you asking for? You are asking for it weekly and monthly, actually. Yeah, this one's looking like it's going to try for a low structure here. Monthly, same thing. Monthly could rally up to about 150, but I do think you are starting to see some long-term signals of weakness. So while I do think that this one will bounce up from here, again, daily, probably like 130, 135 region, weekly, same shit. And then monthly could carry it on a little bit later into the rest of summer, up to like 150. I would be looking for weakness around here. This one is starting to show some like long-term macro signs that it isn't as healthy as it once was. But at least for now, I think that you do have a bit of a low end, and then you probably do rally off there. So take that as you will. But very, very long term, I would be a bit skeptical on that one. Tokyo Channel says, some yen for some sushi. Fuck yeah, man. Hey, you have a great weekend too, man. Thank you for that, brother. Legend LEZ says, thanks, man. Lesson learned with expiring calls. Both Berkshire and Silver taught me a lesson. Can't complain too much, though. Still net positive. Yeah, and that's that's a very sombering thing, Mr. Legend LEZs. Is like, as you get more and more accustomed to trading, as you get more and more experience with trading, as you get better and better with trading, your issues become well, maybe I didn't trade that one perfectly, but I still made profit. It's like it's a better issue to have, where it's like before, okay, well, I'm net negative and I just fucked up. That sucks. With more experience comes better problems, and that's a good problem to be having, man. And the fact that you can recognize that, put a finger on it, and then presumably execute better in the future, using that as an actual lesson. That is the way, sir. That is the way indeed. Calvin Tink says, please take a look at CSTR. Okay, CSTR. It's a crypto miner, you say? Capstar. Oh wait, hold on. I don't know if we're looking at the same thing. CTSR. Wait, what in the fuck? CSTR. Okay, CSTR. CryptoStar Corporation, or are you talking about this right here? I think you're probably talking about this actually, because it is, you did mention crypto mining. Yeah, crypto mining company. Okay. Oh, .v. Okay, I see now. .v. That's not bringing anything up, so I suspect you're probably talking about this on TSXV. You're probably talking about that exchange there. Okay. So what are we looking at right here? We're looking at a crypto miner, it sounds like. Long term, I actually do like it, but short term, what are we looking at? Short term, we're looking at a bit of a base here. I wouldn't mind if it came down to like 16 cents, but I actually do like this area for a bit of a low structure long term, kind of similar to Bitcoin. It's like, look, if you want to be bullish on Bitcoin, you probably also look at the miners as well. And what are you looking at? You're looking at a range, essentially. This would be your 42 to the upside versus about 31, 32 to the downside. And the longer that you go sideways within there, fine, without actually breaking out below the current low structure. And I'd be having the same opinion on this one as well. Basically sideways here is what I'd be looking for. Daily RSIs, neither bullish nor bearish, a little bit on the weaker side, so a little bit more on the bearish side right there. Daily BBWP is looking for expansion, so you probably do test one side of these, one side of the range here relatively soon. And daily TSI does say it's probably the upside, but I don't think that this is like the time to be very interested in this one, unless if you're like thinking very long term. Perhaps you do get a potential position for like a long term, somewhere around 16.5 or 17 cents, looking at a weekly. Yeah, just trying to hold the range right there. It's not too enticing nor too dastardly. Looking at the monthly, same thing, man. I'd give it a chance, but realistically, it's kind of similar to Bitcoin. Sideways is the name of the game, within a greater range, and then obviously resolution above or below. I'd give it a chance, as long as it does remain above the bottom side support. I always go with the trend in this case, like the long-term trend in this case, it would be up. So give it the benefit of the doubt. Abitomex says, try fermented foods or some fiber may help too. Perhaps it could, but I think the best thing that'll help with these fucking antibiotics is just getting rid of them, which I'm almost done. So I got one more day left. Hey, what's up, Spiros? Hey, appreciate that, man. I appreciate that, man. The bare moon was upon us. Have a happy fucking Friday. Yeah, man. Let's actually go check out the old moon charts right here. Let's see how they've done in hindsight. I'm actually curious to see. Let's see. I think this was my time fib and volatility chart, and then I also had some moon phases on there too. Yeah. So let's see. Okay, so this was the time fib right here at the 1886. We actually went up from that price point, but we got the bare moon, and what's next? Down. I mean, that has been the call for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, somewhat 6. Although these 1, 2, yeah, these two did not work out right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 actually working out, versus the other ones actually pretty much all working out except for one. Very interesting right there. Yeah, man. The moons knew it all along, baby. I'm studying astrology from now on, reading my tea leaves and doing astrology. It's good shit. All right, Mr. Mean Gun says, any thoughts on UWMC daily? Okay, what is this? Wait, hold on. Was it UM or UW? That was UWMC. UWMC, okay. MC right here. Okay, on New York Stock Exchange, real stock. Very good. Very good on the 4 hour. What time frame are you looking at? You are looking at a daily. Okay, well, 4 hour would be looking for another test back up towards 1080 region. What are you looking at on daily? Daily's okay, just playing out a bit of a range after a trend reversal, so I would be looking for it to operate within this range for a while. Short term, I would be looking for a little bit of upside based off the 4 hour there. Long term, I'd give it the benefit of the doubt. This one does look like a MAC reversal, probably in progress, but I give it some time to go sideways here. Short term, a little bit of upside. Long term, just sideways here between about 950 and about 1080 or so. So fair enough there. All right, let's see. We got Mario says one more crown. Can you take a look at Clove rally over? Is this another one of the meme stocks? Anyways, the question is the rally over? Yeah, this one got faded pretty damn fast. But let's go down to the short-term timeframes here first. I would actually be looking for a bounce off this region, but is the rally over? I suspect it might be, actually, yes. I mean, this is a pretty nasty rejection. So remind me on this one, though. Is this another one of these fucking Reddit meme stocks? If so, then yeah, this one probably is over after a little bit of a anemic bounce off of like 12 bucks or so. So very, very short term, I do think that it comes down a little bit more. I would be looking for a bounce there. Plays within a range and then goes through like the slow bleed of death. Maybe even gets a rally back up to like 7.25 over time, but realistically long term, do I think that the rally's over? Yes, I do think so. I mean, this is not the reaction you expect to see on a healthy stock. I mean, Jesus Christ, man, look at that wick on the weekly. Just disgusting, just nasty. On the monthly, I think it's even worse. Dear Lord, man, yeah, I suspect that this is a meme stock, isn't it? It is a meme stock, says Chem Suicide. All right, sweet. Yeah, that should be rather obvious from that. All right, there we go. So yeah, it's probably it's gonna have its bounces similar to like a GameStop and whatnot, but this one looks like it's gonna get faded a lot sooner. But I'd give it a chance. Just like AMC, just like GameStop, it'll take some time, but this one getting faded a lot faster than the others. Mr. Mean Gun says, oh wait, nope, we already got that one. Shiva Rams, or wait, did we get that one? We did get that one. Oh, okay, it's there twice. Okay, cool. All right, that confused me. Shiva Rams says, Yellow Crown, you love your work. Could you take a look at QNT, USD forward, and daily? Okay, yeah, this is the quant one, right? And thank you, sir. Yeah, this one was one of the good charts, right? I'm curious to see how this one's doing right now. Let's see. Okay, a bit of a short-term pullback right there after a mega macro breakout. We did hit the 414 on a closing basis. We're playing down to the 272 at 68. I see nothing wrong with that. I'd be looking for a bit of a range here on the short-term time frame, something like this. Something like this right here. And I'd actually be looking for a try to the upside long-term, in fact. One of the more interesting charts in cryptocurrency land, of course. I mean, this one's been good for a long time. Basically ever since its inception in 2018, August, by the way. So this one survived a lot. And while I do think that it will play at a bit of a range here, maybe even reach a little bit lower than where I currently have it at, anywhere down to like 64 is actually, or 65 is actually fair game. But long term, I'm actually not bearish on this one, man. Weekly still more or less good, assuming that it closes just anywhere here or high or anywhere above 65 bucks. Weekly TSI freshly crossing up. Weekly RSI telling the story here too, back in the bullish control zone. Very, very good. Monthly, phenomenal. I'm bullish on this one coming over the next few months, but I would be looking for a short-term range, however. A little bit of a short-term range right there. All right, cool. Hey, what's up, Yasik? What's up, man? Hey, Krown. Looks like I always do the thing 12-hour on Bitcoin. Will give us some clues. RSI, Stoke, MACD. Okay, let's see. Let's see, sir. Let's see. All right, so you're looking at the 12-hour for Bitcoin, and you're saying that there's a little bit of hints in there. What we got going on over here? Well, 12-hour TSI is about to curl on over. That's not good. 37.5, the magical number right there. 12-hour RSI, hidden bearish divergence. I believe we caught that earlier. Not fucking good as well. Perhaps you're onto something here, sir. It would certainly be painting a more short-term bearish picture. 12-hour SMI curling down. 12-hour MACD curling down. I'm noticing a trend here, sir. 12-hour DMI, no signal, but ADX is starting to gain a little bit of strength, so perhaps we do see a bit of a trend emerge from there. Let's see over here on our Stokes as well. Where's my Bitcoins? There we go. And there we go as well. Yeah, we'll be remaining to the downside as long as below about 40,500. Yeah, good call, Mr. Yasek. That would certainly be that would certainly make buy sees a lot more easy right here. So fair enough. I mean, maybe we do see that next $3,600 target get hit. Perhaps even today. That'll be quite the thing. A $2,000 move all within the same day. Let's see. Okay. Peanut Gallery Trading says, good day, sir. Thoughts on Ford, New York Stock Exchange monthly? Okay, let's see. Ford right here, New York Stock Exchange. And you're looking on the monthly specifically. Monthly pullback time, but long term I do like it. Long term I like it a lot, actually. I believe we hit our $16.50 target. Ooh, nice. Pretty fucking cline there. Very fucking close. Hold on. I'm guessing it got caught from there. It did get caught from there. So I would be looking for a pullback from this region, but long term, I actually would be remaining bullish on this one. That is long term, however. Quarterly, strong, very strong. Quarterly TSI turning up, quarterly RSI turning up as well. Hard to hate that, but and this is a very long form accumulation, right? Going all the way back to Jano for higher low right here, or sorry, low right here, higher low right here. It can spend some more time within this range, man. So while I would be looking for a little bit of sideways and down if you're hitting this area right here. I mean, this can come down to like 13.5. I'm not so convinced that this one's like ready to really break out of the macro structure, and the macro structure would be, of course, like 1670 to $17 even or so, it looks like. That I'm a lot less confident on, but I do like this one long term if that's what you're asking, which it does seem like you're asking if you're talking about a monthly. If you're talking about a daily, I'd be looking for sideways and down short term. So it really depends where you're going to go, but it does seem like you are very long term. Let's also check out what the bi-yearly says. Very fucking good right here. Very fucking good. Actually, bi-yearly says this actually could have the potential to break out of the macro structure perhaps throughout the rest of this year, maybe like late Q4. But first and foremost, I'd probably be looking for sideways and down. This one probably plays even all the way back down to like $12 overall before it's all said and done. And then I'll be looking for another try to the upside. By the way, we also do have regular phantom div over here for this is, again, bi-yearly RSI. So I do quite like that. And this actually could have potential by end of year to break out. And at that point, I'd be looking at, moves back up around the prior time high in that case. All right, cool. We got Alexander Marks, diamond reversal pattern forming on the Bitcoin 15-minute. I wouldn't trust anything on the 15-minute to reverse anything that matters, to be honest with you. Is this a diamond reversal? No, this is not. A diamond reversal, if this was going to work out as like a diamond, you'd be looking for something like this, right? Looking for something like this, okay? Boom, boom. It honestly doesn't even work. You'd be looking for something like this, though. It should be a little bit more orderly. And then boom, up from this low right here, breaking below this sort of medium point is going to completely negate that. So I'd have to say I respectfully disagree, and all indicators are not on the same side of that as well. So at the very least, another retest of this area right here, low 37, and maybe another pity bounce after that. But no, I'd have to say this is not a diamond reversal. And just as an offhand, I very rarely, if ever, see diamond patterns work out in Bitcoin land. They do seem to be okay in Forex, just a little bit okay. But these are patterns that I don't really care for. The patterns that I think work in Bitcoin land are the obvious ones: ascending and descending triangles, and sometimes head and shoulders, although they do have a lower hit rate, certainly, than triangles. Triangles have in the low 70s, whereas head and shoulders, if they're on the same side of the trend, are about like in the mid to low 60s from my memory. Diamond patterns, I don't even think I even got onto my fucking analysis for it because they're just so bad. I don't see them work out all that often. That's one of the patterns that people call out to like sound smart, but I just don't see them as actionable in this in this realm. In Forex, it's okay. I have seen them certainly work out in Forex from time to time, but on a first thing, we're talking about a 15-minute, which is pretty much contrary to like all of the medium-term timeframes trends right now. So it can just get overrun by that to begin with. And then second off, momentum offsuiters would say a resounding no here as well. If it was going to work out, it would have worked out actually around the time that I started the stream when we were testing around $38,000. Thus far, that is not going to be held. All right, let's see. Abidemic says Asian paint on the daily. Is this a real thing? It's Asian Microsoft? All right, let's see. Asian paint? Is this a real thing? This is not a real... Wait, I didn't spell it right. Asian paint. Here we go. This is a real thing. What the fuck? Is this India? Are you from India, sir? On the daily. Okay, I'm guessing it's this one right here. Is that even Indian? I don't even know. I am that ignorant of an American. I like it. Very bullish. Very fucking bullish here. I guess I've charted it out too. What the fuck? Okay, fair enough. I don't remember looking at this thing at any time in the more recent future, but it looks like it's playing out the analysis, whatever it was. I would be looking, okay, we already hit the 414, so I would expect to pull back there. Anywhere between there and about, $3,000 even is fair game. Perhaps we've already got that on the short-term timeframes. Almost, pretty close. Maybe another drive just slightly lower than that. Long-term though, continuation. I really like it long-term. And this was back when I had my fibs like this. So yeah, this must have been like a couple months ago, if that. At the very least. Long term, I'd be looking at 3,500 plus, anywhere between 35 and 37-ish region. This is a very good chart right here. Weekly TSI turning up, weekly RSI, same thing. All looks well and good to me. So I'd be long term bullish on this one. Short term, a little bit of sideways. But generally speaking, all higher term timeframes are bullish there, sir. Another breakout. I mean, the breakout happened a while ago, sir. Happened about in late May, it looks like. So you're about a month late to that party, but I do like it, man. It's in a blue sky, and that's typically, in my experience, a very good thing. Peter M, thank you for that, sir. But feel free to have a message, man. Feel free to have a message alongside of it as well. Can you take a look at AMP USD on Gemini, 4-hour daily, weekly? Okay, AMP. Okay, and this is the one on Gemini. That's right. Yeah. All right. Let's see. And you're looking at 4-hour daily, weekly. I suspect, okay, well, it's actually got a little bit of history here. I actually kind of like it. This is, again, another altcoin that's doing something completely different, which I don't know what the hell this thing is. But it does deserve some respect, that's for sure. So let's just mark off the last sort of breakout territory. I do think it will pull back somewhere around here, like 70, what is it, 7.8, 7.9 cent. But long term, do I like it? Yeah, I do like it. I'd be looking for continuation long term. So let's see. Let's pull this one back. I think we looked at this one yesterday or the day prior. So we did hit the 414 target. We are pulling back from there, somewhere down around, actually a little bit below that, which is not a good sign. Let me see if I actually did this proper. Let's double check on this one. Did I make it for that time frame or not? Okay, let's try something like this. Go boom and boom. Okay, yes, there we go. Okay, so we are playing between the 414 and the 272 right now. You think a little bit lower than we're currently at, but ultimately sideways within this region. Then long term, do I think it has more? It's a little bit sloppy here, yes, but yeah, I do think it has more long term. Daily still more or less healthy. Short term, sideways and down, maybe a little bit further down, but long term, probably 13 cents or so. It actually looks pretty damn good. Weekly, I like. And I suspect monthly, I'll probably like it as well. Yeah, monthly is very, very good. Any sort of a closure above 8 cent at the end of this month, and I'd be looking for this one to retest prior highs and probably try for some new all-time highs to those next relevant targets, which I do believe are, yeah, like 12 to 13 cents or so. Or is that 13 and a half? Sorry, more like 13 to 14 cents. Again, mostly based off the monthly, so it depends what time frame you're on, but I think that you are on the higher term time frames there. It sounds like 4-hour. Yeah, sideways and down here. I'd be looking for a little bit lower on the 4-hour, and I don't really have any bad things to say about this one as long as it's especially above, let's call it like 7.5 cent. We'll call it. All right, cool. Boohor says, can you take a look at XAG, sir? Wyckoff? Oh man, everyone's on the Wyckoff chain now. I mean, it is, yes. We looked at it earlier. Over the long period of time, it is, yes. And it's still kind of filling out that last sort of marker of this consolidation right here. So, you know, you have your accumulation between about July 2014, resolved recently in June 2020. Here's your first sort of consolidation after that first nice move up from that spring. And actually still like this. Legend Ali asked about this one earlier. I don't see anything wrong with this. I mean, it's just a higher low structure. It's quite literally reaccumulation formation. It's ascending triangle right there. So long term, I actually do think that it will get a try up north of $30, but short term, sideways, and resolution probably a little bit late, you know, maybe later this summer. Short term, a little bit of sideways between here and about $25 or so is completely fine. I don't have any issues with that. Monthly is the one that tells the story here, and the monthly is still, yeah, consolidating around the bullish control zone, so I do like that. Yep. I would agree. Peter N says, today I want your opinion about the underlying technology effects joke. Just a chart, please. Yeah, we can look at the chart here, of course. XUSD. I'm curious to see how this one's holding up here too. I think last we looked at it, we did hit our 10 cent target, and then we said a little bit of sideways and probably one more try up. And I think, yeah, we are definitely going to get that actually. Well, I shouldn't say definitely. Can't have the hubris right now, but I am looking, yeah, I'd still be looking at about 10 cents here, maybe 10 and a half, but I would be on weakness watch around there. So I do stick with what I said the other day, you know, a little bit of sideways and probably one more try up, probably to new highs here, somewhere around 10 to 10 and a half cent. I would be looking for anything resembling a, you know, a local high within that region. And we will naturally, very likely have regular bearish divergence, assuming that this thing doesn't just absolutely fucking green dildo its way to like, you know, 15, 20 cents or so. But for right now, I do still stick with what I've been saying right there. It's still one of the better charts in cryptocurrency land, all things aside. So weekly is powerful. Yeah, weekly I do like as it is. So one more try to just above 10 cents, and then I want to come back to it after that, see if there's anything resembling like a local high. If that were to happen, I'd be looking for a consolidation sideways and down, you know, over the next like probably month or two. This one's had pretty nice run, and then perhaps another try later this year. But for right now, short term, still looking pretty damn good here, to be honest with you. 4-hour, a little bit of sideways range, and still upside implied. Yeah, looking pretty damn good there, especially with BBWP expanding alongside essentially momentum oscillator still pointed up northwards and trend as well. Usually a good combination there. Usually pretty good. All right, cool. Chimera says, "Good morning, Krown. Would you be kind and look at dot dollar daily and weekly?" Okay. Dot USD. Yeah, this one used to be really popular too. No one talks about it anymore. That's rather strange. Yeah, it looks like shit. It looks like shit on the forum. But what time frame are you asking? You're asking about daily, weekly. Okay, cool. All right, daily down. Wow. Again, it depends on what Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin does pop back up, which it's not looking like it's what it wants to do. But if it were, this one's going to pop back up towards 25 and a half or so. But for right now, man, looks like it wants to head back down to the bottom side of this low side structure at about 20 and a half bucks. Daily TSI weak, but still technically up. Daily RSI sideways, neutral. Volatility still contracting here, to be fair. Let's see what the weekly looks like. Not enough history on the weekly to really be going off of, but so far rejection of the 21, not necessarily the best thing of all time. And monthly is sideways range. So if you are if you're kind of making a corollary between this one and Bitcoin, like let's say Bitcoin comes back down mid 30s or so, I'd be looking for this one somewhere down around about 20 bucks and tries for another base there and just holds the range. Again, best case for boo laws, I stick with what I've been saying for the last month now. Best case for boo laws, and this pretty much goes for all cryptocurrencies, is sideways for the next couple months. That would be probably the most healthy thing. As long as Bitcoin just essentially follows this trajectory right here, I look at that as more or less good long term, but it's going to be boring as all hell for the most of summer, which I think is actually a very good and sombering sort of effect. Abbott says, "Sir, you thought I was trolling you last time? Wait, wait, what? Wait, what, sir?" Vodtech says, "Hey, Krown, can you take a look at Crud Mill?" Okay, Crud. Can you take a look at now I am being trolled. Let's see, on Milano. Okay. Italian stocks. I don't think I've ever looked at an Italian stock before. Looks pretty good here as far as the daily goes. Weekly, the reversal is real. And what are you asking about specifically, though? You are asking about a weekly, monthly. Okay, so you're very, very long term. And you said thinking about closing a position from bottom. Okay, so you literally bought the bottom. I do think they have some more up here. I actually do think they have some more up. Short term, does it pull back off of like five and a half bucks? Probably yes, but I do think that you will very likely test up somewhere around about $6 before it's all said and done. Long term, I think you're definitely thinking in the right vein here. At least this is the way that I'd be thinking, in the sense that, like, look, long term, you just have one shitty as fuck downside chart. Yes, there are several signatures of a macro change of behavior here, no doubt about that. But it's best to kind of take the money when it's in your hands. You always reposition later. But do I think that you have a little more on this run? Yeah, I do actually. If you're looking at like the very high term timeframes, like the weekly and monthly. If you're looking at, let's see, if maybe you're looking at not. Oh no, you are looking at weekly, monthly. If you're looking at daily, actually, next move would probably be back down to about 5.25. But I do like this one. I do think that I don't think it's done just yet. Probably somewhere around $6, and then I'd look for weakness. And if this one wants to continue with the long term macro downtrend, that would be a damn good place for it. So fair enough. Oh, all good, man. All good, Abbott. Oh yeah. The Asian paint, man. The Asian paint from back in May, man. Pretty impressive chart, man. Very impressive chart right there. So glad to clear that one up, man. Yeah, it's kind of funny to come back to those charts that like I haven't looked at in months, and then it's like, every once in a while that TA bullshit works. Cosmos Extension says, "Hey, Krown, thanks for hey man, my pleasure. Will you analyze Woo USET for me?" Sure. Although you did not include any time frames, so we'll see where I go with this one. Okay, monthly looks very good. Very, very good here. Very fucking good. Daily looks very good as well, actually. I like this chart. This is a cryptocurrency? Yes, it is. Okay, you said USDT. Okay, just USD. Let's see if maybe Huobi shows a different picture. Nope, shows the same very bullish picture long term, actually. Let's just delete everything right here. We only need a couple, and that is an eyesore of a fucking chart. Do I think it's going to pop back up and test around the top side of your long-term time frame range? Yeah, 127.5 looks good. Got a nice little higher low right here at 85 cents. I play bullish. This one's very, very good response here. Again, all things considered, one of the better charts in cryptocurrency land. Not the best chart, but among the best. Yeah, I like the weekly. Monthly, look. If you want to make this analysis very easy, which you did not give a time frame for, so I suspect if you just want to make this as easy as possible, any sort of a monthly close, any fucking sort of a monthly close above last month's high, which is, I believe, last month's open, which is just under 97 cents. I'd be bullish for new all-time highs over the next few months. Do I have targets on top of that? I guess we could derive a little bit of targets here, but there's not an obvious formation here, so I actually will hold back on that. I don't have any targets to be given until we actually put in something that's a little more obvious, but I keep an eye on the monthly. Wouldn't surprise me to see this one trade a little more sideways into like July, for example, but later this summer, assuming that the monthly does close there, I would be looking for another try towards new all-time highs. Again, big range right here, but one of the more healthy looking altcoins actually. Very interesting. Very fucking interesting. Hey, what's up, Jake40? Where's the message, sir? Where's the goddamn message? Hey, what's up, Paranoid? Good to see you, man. Bitcoin against gold on a weekly comparison chart. Spot versus Bitstamp. Catch you on Civ 2. Oh, let's do it, baby. Let's do it. Okay, so you're saying Bitcoin against gold on a weekly comparison chart. Okay, let's pull up a new chart for this, or should we? Yeah, let's just pull up a new chart here. All right, new chart layout. Okay, and you want to see Bitcoin versus gold specifically. So we can do BTC. Can we just enter and see if that works? See if this pulls anything up. That would be actually. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. Okay. Wow. Yeah, Bitcoin is actually doing pretty damn well against gold. Bitcoin's bullish versus gold. No doubt about it. Anyways, you're saying Bitcoin against gold on a weekly comparison chart. We are on a daily. Let's go to weekly. Weekly doesn't look as obvious, but Jesus fucking Christ, man. Peter Schiff is not going to like this. I really like the daily. Weekly actually did put in a lower low there, which is a little bit more concerning, but of course we trade versus the dollar, not versus the golds. Anyways, spot versus Bitstamp. Okay, so you mean gold spot versus versus Bitcoin on Bitstamp. I mean, I think I see where you're going with this one here. Actually, I could just put this on my regular charts as well. It's actually very interesting, sort of very interesting exercise to kind of chart things versus gold rather than the dollar, which, you know, the gold is obviously looked at as a store of value. You know, we got a death cross right here. I would say that's not the best one right there. In fact, this one, this looks obviously bullish to me. This looks very obviously bullish to me, but this is again versus gold, not versus dollar. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing rally up towards 5.55 billion. Oh, so is this doing it versus market cap? Either which way, I mean, this is bullish here. You're saying about weekly? Yeah, I'd be looking for a rally up here. Yeah, all momentum oscillators are looking for Boolah-ish resets as well. Looks pretty damn good. Problem is, can't trade that chart. Lance Spencer says PLNHF. 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 Okay, Planet 13 Holdings, and you're looking at weekly or daily. We can look at both. Weekly consolidating, a nice healthy consolidation, but does it test back down towards 645 first? Maybe before a resolution. Looking at the daily, just sideways within this range, but I would be having a more bullish bias on the resolution. Resolution area is going to be back above about 7 and 4.5 cents. It looks like. And we could come up with some targets on this one too. Let's see. Short term it would be 866. Long term it would be more like actually almost around $10. That is assuming that we actually get the breakout. For right now, I'm just sideways within here, but I do like it. It looks like a bullish reset on most indicators here. Monthly, yeah, monthly isn't giving us too much to go off of, but I would still just be going with the general trend right there. Daily says sideways within this range. Probably another test back down to like 630 or 6.25 before it's all said and done, but as long as this one just does not take out the last major higher low, which is 582, 583 region, I'd play it as just sideways and very likely long-term upside. Looking decent there. All right, the Yole Bear, what's up, man? Yo, this is random, but I think Stansberry Research is running some weird scam using MicroStrategy right now. Okay, live Michael Saylor about Mark Cuban. The URL they're pushing, it goes to a sketch okay. Are you talking about these things like on YouTube? Did you see that on YouTube? Because that's actually like pretty damn common with a lot of these mega influencers like the Sailors, like CZ and Elon Musk, and Vitalik had one as well, where they'd have like these fake YouTube streams and like these fake YouTube advertisements that would make you think that like they're making some major announcement that, you know, you can send me 1 Bitcoin and I'll send you 10 back, or some bullshit like that, right? And it's just like the new scam. So it sounds like now they're using Sailor's face. Do I have that right? If I have that right, yeah, then that's just, I mean, it's honestly really fucking annoying with YouTube because they somehow will let that through, but every once in a while, you know, they'll tag one of my videos and say, hey, this violated community guidelines. Like, what? You have like a literal scam going on. You have like a literal scam going on, and in your advertisements, the ones that, you know, you're supposed to like actually verify before they go through. Okay, so it is fake ads. Yeah, Nimbo has confirmed here it is fake ads. Yeah, man, it's unfortunate, but we are in the cryptocurrency space after all, and the cryptocurrency space is notorious for such bullshits now, isn't it? Let's see. Jacob says, ooh, pound yen. Holy fuck, man. Here we go. Pound yen. GBP, JPY. Pound yen on OANDA. Man, I this is my favorite Forex to trade. In fact, this is what I'll probably go to trading when Bitcoin's being born as hell. Okay. I do like the weekly breakout here. However, next move very likely is down on the weekly. But what time from you? Short from 155, 318. Oh, you have a great position. Oh, you have a great position. You shorted the weekly high. Oh, beautifully done, sir. Beautifully done. And I do think that, yes, the next move is to the downside, but you might want to consider taking a little bit of profit because short term, it probably does try for a bit of a bounce here. But where do I think that this one can come down to? Maybe a little bit below 152, like 151.5, 151.8 region. Anywhere around here is fair game. Long term, though, I do actually like it. I actually do like it. The monthly is not bearish. The monthly is breakout. The quarterly, I imagine, is more or less okay, too. Yeah, the quarterly is closing on new highs. Not necessarily the most bearish thing of all time. We do have a higher low in place as well. What about the 6 month? Long term? Kind of inconsequential there, to be fair, but you're probably not too worried about that. Seems like you're more or less probably trading the daily here. Yeah, pretty damn good trade, man. Trading the bearish divergence, I'm guessing right there. Yes, indeed, you did. Yeah, and I do think that you got a little bit more on this one, but it very likely does try for a bounce there first on the very short-term timeframes. I do think the bounce will get faded, but here's the thing that I'm focusing on. BBWP is expanding, and this is coming down. And momentum oscillators are, at the very least, looking for a bit of a reset. So in that case, I do think that you probably got a little bit more on this, somewhere around like 152, ultimately. And then very likely a big bounce from there because long-term, all higher-term timeframes are not necessarily bearish, I would say. I mean, weekly got a golden cross right here. I typically like this on a consolidation, so give it some time. Thanks for that, Jesse, but do you have like a comment to go along with it? Hey, what's up, Dreadlocks? Krown's hair violates YouTube policy. It's true, man. I should be banned and burned at the stake alive. Joe Marty says Bitcoin at 7,000. I look, man, we've all seen some crazy things from being in this market, but I don't think that would be my first target for Bitcoin, to put it bluntly. I know that people are getting that from like a presumed head and shoulders right here. You could make the argument that this is a head and shoulders. I think it'd be rather sloppy. And if it is going to be a head and shoulders, you would be looking for resolution in the next couple of weeks. You don't want to see the right shoulder drag on for too long in comparison to the left shoulder. And right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so another couple of weeks, and I'd say that is going to be a non-event, or at least if it is going to, or at least if you are going to break that, you're not going to hit that target. It's going to be a more muted target. Let's see. Did I miss something over here? What is I don't know what that's in reference to, Casey Jones, honestly. Juneteenth? I don't know what Juneteenth is. What is Juneteenth? Still live Krown. Wow. Yeah, man, it's a boring day today, man. Like, there's not much for me to do as far as a trader. I'm not trading this right here. I don't feel too confident on this one. The only two obvious trades I see right here is taking out the last 4-hour low for continuation down probably like 36.5 or so. It's like these are tight ranges now. And then the other trade to the upside is 39.2, same area as yesterday, but yesterday I got a little bit too prematurely excited about this one, looking for a 2-hour closure above there. The right call would have been a 4-hour closure. Rather embarrassing, but it's gonna happen. Don't know Juneteenth. I don't. What is Juneteenth? Oh, I'm a racist now. Fuck. I didn't even know. I didn't even know. Krown, sir, is crypto the right market to be trading when you're learning? No, I don't think so. I do think that Forex is a better area to go learn in. Forex, you can trade very low-term timeframes, and honestly, when you're learning, it actually is better to use low-term timeframes to learn, like paper trade. The reason why I say that is because, you know, if you're using a daily, for example, you're not going to get too many signals. You're going to get a signal. I mean, obviously it's variable, but you know, looking for a signal on a daily versus the same signal on an hourly is going to be, or even like a 5 minute is going to be a completely different world. So you want, when you're first starting, you want to get as many repetitions in as possible. That's what's going to allow you to kind of learn relatively fast. And so I do think that Forex and to a lesser extent traditional markets are going to be better for that. But Forex is pretty consistent, trades very technically, and you know, if you can trade Forex, I mean, that, you know, those are some more difficult markets. So I would I'd suggest learning in an environment like that. And then if you want to take it over to Bitcoin, you know, take it over to Bitcoin. But you know, the general setup that I have when Bitcoin's like trending, for example, trending to the upside more specifically, is, you know, I'll just mostly play long-term strategies on Bitcoin, you know, daily and above, and then I'll play low-term time frame strategies on Forex, and that kind of keeps me busy. Okay, Jesse Falix says, hey man, opinions on Keep Network. Well, I've never heard of it. So that's usually a good sign. Okay, so I typed in Keep. Okay, so Keep is a thing. It is a thing. It trades on Kraken, so it can't be that bad because they are regulated. It also trades on Binance, which is much more questionable. And we literally have 1 to 2 days of history. Look, man, technical analysis is already imperfect as it is, that if we just have 2 days of history, let alone not even 2 years of history, I just don't fucking trust it there. What I can tell you for this one is what you likely already know. The history that we do have, which albeit is 2 days, which is nothing at all whatsoever to go off of, is absolutely dog shit. But again, man, you know, this 2 days of history is just, you might as well be reading tea leaves in this case. For the history that we do have, though, it looks like this one does not have any real buyers. It does not look very good. Maybe there's an exchange that has more history. Let's see. Let's see. Is it on any of the shitty exchanges here? Poloniex might have some. No, that's a different thing. Maybe we do check Kraken. Okay, so Kraken's got more. Oh, okay, Kraken's got a lot more. Oh, okay, here we go. Hey, not bad. Not bad, actually. Not bad. Now, I'm assuming these are the same things because it does seem like there's a lot of Keep tokens here. This is actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good here. Let's see. Wait, it goes back to 2020. Okay, so you are looking, yeah, you're looking at Kraken. Okay. So this is why it's actually a good idea to include exchange, because this is a completely different chart here. This is actually very good. And I would be looking for a move back up towards 73 cent based off the daily. Weekly's got a higher low. We've already kind of tested the high structure, thus far rejected, but I suspect you'll get another try coming in the next week. Weekly RSI is fine, neutral. Weekly TSI is slightly bullish. Daily, same shit. Daily's a little bit of sideways here, but I do think you get another try back up towards like 75, 76 cent region. Very short-term time frames. What do we have? Sir! Elsa's having a laugh attack. Even the 4 hours, a little bit of sideways here. Let's see, we do have a 4-hour jewel sell signal though, so maybe next move short term is down, maybe back down to like 50 cents or so. But I do like the weekly and I do like the daily, so it depends what time frames you're looking at specifically. So let me see, did you say? Oh no, you did not give me a time frame on this one, but I would suspect that this one's actually decent here, actually pretty damn decent. Why 24 hours should be on the daily? Sir, it's the same goddamn thing. Can't you count? It is the same thing, actually. It just gives you a countdown for it, which actually I think even the daily does have now for you as well. This is because if you were familiar with TradingView from like even a year ago, I think, or maybe like 2 years ago now, you had to go to a 24-hour in order to get the actual countdown to the daily. But actually, yeah, they do have the same countdown here on the regular daily as well. Fair enough. Sir, did not understand why you cannot trade Bitcoin versus gold? Well, I mean, do you have an exchange where you can trade them against each other? I mean, obviously you can trade them, you know, as like obtuse to each other on two different exchanges or two different pairings, you know, both versus US dollar. But if you're like literally looking to trade Bitcoin versus gold, I'm not aware of any exchange that allows you to do that like at scale. Maybe like a shitty exchange or something. Maybe like a Prime XBT will allow you, or like one of the more exotic exchanges. They might allow for that, but I'm not aware of any exchanges like you know any big ones that offer those pairs. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know, I'd be happy to be wrong on that, but that's what I meant by that. But yeah, man, as far as this one goes, very, very short term, a little bit of sideways, a little bit of downside. Daily I like, weekly I like, and let's see the monthly as well. I'm actually curious what the monthly does say. One actually does have an okay amount of history here. Monthly's not giving me too much. We'll just leave it right there. Okay, Michael Mariscotta says, hey, Krown, can you check out Tattooed Chef? Sure. TTCF. TTCF right here. All right, Tattooed Chef on NASDAQ. Okay, what time frame, though, sir? No time frame, motherfucker. Daily. Well, what the hell am I looking at right now? What in tarnation am I looking at right now? Okay, here we go. Now we have something to look at. All right, did I try this one out yesterday? I feel like I did. Something like this, what I'd be looking at. Boom, there's your highs. Yeah, nice rising lows here on the last few weeklies. Now, of course, this one is obviously ranging here and consolidating over a long period of time, and probably does give another try to the bottom side of this, of this structure here, somewhere right around 19 bucks. Oh, there we go. Okay, there's my populated things from yesterday. Nice one. So I would be looking for a little bit of sideways. Probably fills out the space a little bit more to the downside. Long term, though, I actually like it. I actually do like it long term. Monthly, fine. Long term, in fact, monthly is actually a little bit more confidence inducing for the medium and short term as well. Daily says sideways and down. 4 hour, sideways and down. Maybe a few bounces in between there, but ultimately, I'd be looking for sideways here for a while, for at least a few months here. Maybe into like the end of this year, and then probably resolution in Q4 of this year. And yes, the bias would be the upside in this case. So fair enough on that one. Okay, cool. Jesse Falik says Kavo.io long term. Are we in trouble in this one? Or Kava.io. Okay, are you talking about this thing right here? Kava. This. Oh, no, you're talking about this. All right, what the fuck is this? It actually does have, a few weeks here. Look, man, there's no long-term analysis to be done on something that's been around for a couple, 3 months now. Or it's 3 months? Yeah, about almost 3 months now from March. I don't like the chart, though. It just goes down. Doesn't look too hot here. No real reason to be excited on this chart as long as you're below the last lower high in the 4 hour, which is 439. Above there, probably do get to test the highs of June, but yeah, not the healthiest chart of all time. Weekly is very, 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 very unassuming. What about 2 day? Not as bad. Fair enough. Give it the benefit of the doubt, sir. Being too harsh on these shitcoins today. But yeah, man, I'd be looking at 4 hour structure right here. Honestly, man, it does look a little more downside angle than not. You're looking somewhere down around here for another bounce. Okay, cool. Abademic says, any advice on preparing to handle a larger account? After wiping myself out months ago, I have redeemed my account and surpassing levels I'm used to. Okay, this brings into the conversation a few different things. Okay, well, first and foremost, the initial answer to your question is pretty straightforward and pretty simple. Advice on preparing on how to handle a larger account: scale into it slowly, very, very slowly. Add up maybe like 5% of what. Sorry, if you're starting off with X amount and you're looking to work up to like 2X amount, right? Then scale it very, very slowly in increments of like 5% or like very small increments after every week or two, and prove to yourself that you can actually do it. But there is something a little more psychological in the same vein that I think you might be going on towards, which is essentially like success barriers, in the sense that like we do kind of fear, or we do kind of shy away from that sort of an event. Anyways, your specific situation is, after wiping myself out months ago, I've redeemed my account and surpassing levels that I'm used to. Okay, there's also a sort of an idea with surpassing levels that you used to. I'm specifically focusing on that portion of your message, because it is just a weird thing that, like, how you have resistance on price action and support on price action? You kind of almost have like resistance and support on your own account balance as well, in the sense that like you get used to having a certain amount, so you start to associate with a certain amount, and so that plays into your identity, assuming that it's kind of hard not to do, I suppose. But I suppose like a monk, an enlightened monk could get around that. But a lot of people will start to associate with, my account size is this is my house over here, this is the amount of equity that I have, this is the amount of stock that I own, this is how much this is my net worth, this is who I am. And when you start to associate with that, you'll always naturally have like these subconscious pulls that try to bring you back down to that baseline. And it becomes very difficult to kind of break out of that. That's why it's like difficult to actually change who you are as a person, in the same way that it's kind of like difficult to change, your trading habits and all of the things that go alongside with that. So what is the the natural antidote to that, it's pretty much the same thing that we spoke about a few times before, in the sense that what you want to do is you want to have progressive decentralization. That's why I suggest, increasing it in very small increments. 5% is good enough as you work your way up, and do it very slowly, maybe over every week or every 2 weeks. And then anytime that you do see that your strategy, which right now is working for you, at least for the last few months, which is pretty damn good, you'll be able to notice, okay, is this deviating from my current expectations on my strategy? Because right now you should have a good sort of sample size for that. If it is, then stop where you are, don't increase that week, and go through your trade journal, go through your trade checklist, and figure out what is different. Have you changed anything? Did you maybe not follow your strategy? If so, that's an easy fix. If not, then it perhaps could be that your strategy is not scaling. So without actually knowing, the specific of it, I can't speak any more directly towards that, but that's what I'd say in that vein. And hopefully that is in some way helpful. But yes, generally speaking, the idea is progressive decentralization over a long period of time. And usually around week number 2 or 3, you start to kind of ease into it and feel more comfortable with it. And then you'll start to associate with that level. And then you'll be having it all kind of work for you, at least hopefully in theory. There we go. Okay, cool. Moral Gandhi says, technically, you can if you trade Pax GBTC. Interesting. Okay, so let's see where this trades. Pax GBTC. Oh, okay. So this is okay. Pax Gold. Okay, so it actually trades on Binance. Ah, interesting. Yeah, I'd be bullish on this, man. Well, hold on. This would be with Pax G as the numerator. Hold on. Would I be bullish on this? This is a different chart. Hey, I don't know if that works. It's flipped around right there. A little bit different, but yeah, you could actually trade against them. Fair enough. Looks slightly different there, to be fair. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Red Blue Green says, Krown, hi man. I mostly use Binance and have been getting a lot of bad vibes about them lately. Any opinion? I've never been a fan of Binance. I feel like if I say a statement like that, it's going to be taken in like the racist direction. It's not. It has nothing to do with that. I just have never really trusted them. I don't like their interface. I don't like their setup. I don't like who they cater to. I don't like a lot of things about their fucking shitcoins carousel. And I don't think that promoting that sort of a thing, you can't say in good faith that you're promoting crypto and then simultaneously having like the vaporware that they offer on their exchange. Now, on the other side, you got to be fair to them. It's like they're more free markets than we're used to in the US. It's like, they're giving you a chance to trade on all these, garbage tokens that pretty much have no value. And you can decide for yourself, and you get to make that decision for yourself. That's a good counterpoint to what I just said. And you know what? When I think about it, that is right. And you got to give him credit for that. CZ is a very interesting person. I think he says all of the right things. He knows how to tell a story well. He speaks well on camera. And he represents himself and his brand in a very positive light a lot of the times. But I do have to go back to some of my experience, especially related to me through one of my friends who is operating a quant firm in Chicago. And they were like a medium tier, and he would basically tell me that the way that it goes at Binance and a lot of these like shitcoin carousel exchanges, like your KuCoins, like your what used to be Poloniex and Bittrex. I think they're kind of different now, but you get an idea when I mention those names. But the way that it would typically go is that what they would do is they would essentially allow you to list your shitcoin on their exchange, basically if you just pay them. And then I've actually even heard of, and I don't think I can't speak directly right here, because first off, it might, if the wrong person hears it, it could invoke some bad things. And so I want to protect myself. And then second off, I can't prove this myself because I didn't actually deal with this myself. I'm only hearing it through the grapevine. But there were some talks that, during those sort of discussions, when you want to list your shitcoin on an exchange like that, basically, you pay them, and then they kind of maybe imply that you will be guaranteed a certain amount of volume and price and whatnot. Which I think, invokes a lot more nefarious sort of details. But again, I can't prove that personally myself. I can only relate experiences of others. And, I've never really been a fan of that. And, also understand my game, man. I don't trade any other thing than Bitcoin when it comes to cryptocurrency. Not because like they're all shitty, like obviously not. It'd be very naive to say that, but I just don't have the time to go and do the research for it. And also, you know, liquidity is going to be somewhat of an issue too, although definitely less so nowadays. Like it used to be an issue with Ethereum. Nowadays you can put in $1 million order in Ethereum and it's no problem. Like the market just eats it up. Bitcoin is like massively scaled now too, which is great. But yeah, man, as far as Binance goes, I'll put it this way, man. I've never traded there and I never will trade there. Just put it like very blunt. Okay, cool. Okay, so we got off that one. We got that one. Bitcoin is flying, says Christopher Hicks. You might be on a 5-minute time frame. Jesse Fallick says Kava on Kraken. Okay. Wait, what? Sir, let's see. All right, let's see. You're talking about Kava on Kraken. So this thing right here. Yeah, not as bad as the other one that you kind of set me off to. I don't know what the fuck that thing was, but this thing right here, it does look like I want a little bit of downside, to be honest with you. Probably back down to about 370. Again, at the end of the day, Bitcoin gets decided direction here, but any sort of weakness in Bitcoin, and I'd be expecting this one to come down as well. Next level, somewhere around like a 370-ish region. See what the weekly looks like. Not a lot to be going off of here. What about the monthly? Yeah, even less to be going off of, obviously. Daily and 12-hour. Yeah, a little more downside angle to probably be looking for this one to come back down somewhere around 370-ish region. Again, if Bitcoin shows any weakness, yeah, this one comes down back around there. Maybe tries for another bounce there, but other than that, not the worst chart long term, all things considered. Also not the most impressive one either, so I don't really have anything more to say about it other than that. Jacob says, dollar. Ooh, yes, here we go. Now we got some good old Forex, baby. All right, dollar versus CAD. Played the daily breakout at 120. Okay, let's get on the charts first. Played the breakout at 1216. Took partial profits at 1227. Oh, beautifully done, man. I do think that you could have held on to it a little bit more in hindsight, obviously. Anywhere around the, I guess this 12 hour, let's see the daily. Anywhere around here, honestly, is fine, yeah. Anyways, you took partials at 122.7, so you're already like well in the green. Let's see, where exactly was that? Oh, you actually did miss a decent amount of that, but you know, you have to kind of take profits right around here at 123 at the very least. I do think that you are coming into a little bit of a short-term stop right here. You do have structural breakdown coming in from 27th of April. You also have the 12-hour 200 simple and 200 exponential average. That's about 124 or so. And that would still be playing in the very, very, very long-term downtrend. So I do respect that, obviously. Weekly 21 is going to be a natural area as well. And guess where that's coming in? Around 124. So I would be a little bit defensive around there. You know, long-term, let's see. Just out of curiosity here. Yeah, long-term, it could easily extend these gains a lot more, maybe to like 126 or so. But I don't like the chart long-term. I mean, that would just be very likely another failed bounce. So take that as you will. Quarterly is pretty wrecked. 6 month, let's see. Yeah, pretty wrecked as well. And it sounds like you're more or less in there for a day trade. So I think you played that one incredibly well. I think you got a little bit more on that for the rest of your partials, and then probably time to reposition, at least if I were trading that, get the money back in your hands and look for a better opportunity elsewhere. Jack's Wasted, of course, is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Jack's Wasted Life said, Sensei, SPWR, please 4 hour daily. Okay, SPWR. PWR. Let's see. SunPower Corporation, NASDAQ. Looking good on the daily reversal here. Actually, I really like this sort of structure right here. I'd be looking for this one to pop up over the next week or two to $29 weekly. Yeah, so it regained the range. Yeah, weekly is just a bounce after a long-term reversal. Oh, a very impressive reversal here, actually. Yeah, I really like this one. Yeah, short-term, I'll be looking for it back up around 29, and then probably does continue into, the rest of summer, somewhere back around about 35.5 or so. I do like that one. But you're looking at a 4 hour daily, and I'm on a weekly. All right, let's go down to a 4 hour. 4 hours fine too here. I'd be looking for short-term continuation up to about, almost $29 there. Looks decent. What about momentum oscillators? Yeah, more or less fine. Hidden bullish divergence. Volatility is expanding. TSI is turning up. Yep. I look for another continuation drive there. It's a nice little trend reversal. It's good. It's nice, sir. It's very nice, actually. Okay, what else did we miss? We got Mr. G Concepts. What's up, man? Hey, Krown, can you take a look at Matic USD? Yes, this is the first time someone's asked about Matic at all today, which is concerning. This used to be like the most popular. We'll go to here. This is Polygon, yeah. Again, whichever direction Bitcoin chooses, this one is going to, it's going to mostly benefit from an upside move. Look, I am actually very I don't really have anything to add on this chart that already hasn't been said from yesterday's analysis on this one. Are we looking at a higher low right here or not? Let's go down to the lower term time frames. Doesn't look like it on a lower term time frame. Where would you confirm a higher low though? Where would you confirm a higher low? Well, 4 hour. Yeah. Okay. So either a wick above yesterday's high or a 4 hour closure above. Yeah, I mean that's also yesterday's high as well. They're one and the same. I'll just say any sort of price action back above 155. I would call this at least a medium term higher low, and I'd be looking for moves back up towards 169, 170ish region right here. It looked decent. By the same token, look, if Bitcoin breaks down, this thing's going to come back down to 137 or so. It's really up to Bitcoin. I don't feel too confident analyzing this one on its own. I think Bitcoin's a lot more obvious here. Weekly is still okay. Monthly is still fine. I don't have anything bearish to say about the monthly. I don't have, bi-monthly is a little bit more under pressure. Quarterly is, still fine. So what does that likely align with? It likely aligns with a more long-term sideways here. But as far as short-term, I don't have an opinion, man. And you didn't really give me a time frame here. So while I have perused around a bunch of different ones, I think it's easier to watch Bitcoin. If I were only watching Matic, it's 155 is the obvious trade there for another move back up towards 167, 169 region. That starts to make this thing look a lot more, healthy as far as this whole range goes. But realistically, man, while Bitcoin's not moving, I don't think that this one's going to be moving either. And your greater range is pretty damn clear here too. I already have it here. That'd be your 220 to the upside versus your higher low right here at 125. I guess long term, you give it the benefit of the doubt here. As far as the long term goes, as long as you're holding this higher low, but in the intermediate time frame, it's just sideways realistically. Okay, cool. Lance Spencer says, is Rear Stokes indicator no longer open to the public? The one you used, I believe, used to be under KVDB. Yeah, he still has it. You just have to find it. You have to find it, sir, but it's in there somewhere. If Elsa waxes his crack, we can probably hear the Sasquatch howl all the way in Europe. Actually, that is very much true. But we don't use wax, sir. We use razors. I thought Matic traders use the Bitcoin chart. I would use the Bitcoin chart there. Or do you mean Matic versus Bitcoin? I mean, look, if you're a Matic trader, you probably just trade whichever one's more obvious and whichever one is more liquid. So that's what I would be using to base off my trades. Finally, Eurodollar coming down, baby. Coming down to, are you almost at more 118.5? You're very close. Very close. Getting there. Finally, I can afford my life. Don't have to throw away these useless goddamn dollars. Matu 185 says, check TETA USDT. Okay. TETA USD. Not available, sir. Do you mean Theta? I think you might mean Theta. But if I'm not right, let me know. Machu, I'm watching the bottom. I'm watching the new chats coming in. So if you want to quickly clarify if you meant Theta or something else, let me know. But Theta, I still like. Theta is actually very good here. Very, 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 very impressive. Okay, yeah. So it is Theta. Very impressive, man. I mean, look, this one is what you wanted to happen on Bitcoin. You want to see a higher low right here. And this one just working its way back up to the top side of the greater range. I'd be looking at 11.25 as your next sort of pivot right here. Somewhere right around there. Long term, I like it. There is nothing bearish about this chart at all. This is a very fucking good chart. I would be looking for this consolidation to go on for a little bit longer. But yeah, next move, I would be looking for, somewhere back around about, what was it, 11.25 or $12? Let's double check here. 11.25, 11.25 to 11.5. It looks like is anywhere around there is fair game. Daily momentum oscillators all pointed up north. Daily TSI good, daily RSI good, daily BBWP expanding alongside trend reversal here, higher lows and higher highs. Beautiful, sir. I do like it. If we go into the very low term time frames, 4 hours continuation from here too. Looking good. 4 hour back up to about 1067, 1069 or so. All right, cool. Jake 40 says, lol, my bad, sir. Hello, sir. New to your channel. Good to meet you, sir. Your name is now Sir. Good to meet It is so good to meet you, sir. Laughing and learning, all good, man. Euro versus the ruble. We can look at that. Is it, man, can you even there anywhere to even trade this? I imagine. Oh yeah, there's plenty of places to trade it. Jesus. Got to go to Moscow Exchange or Forex.com. Okay, so you are talking about what, sir? You're talking about sell continue. Oh, you're talking about a 1 and 4 hour. Okay, let's go to the 1 hour. Long term looks absolutely shit. 1 hour looks absolutely shit. Yes, this is continuation, sir. I would agree with you strongly. Oh, baby. This ruble is getting, no, this euro is getting absolutely wrecked. Jesus Christ, man. What's going on with the euro? Oh, long term, it's very good. Long term, it's very, very good. Probably looking for a move down to like $85. So another continuation here. Yeah, one more drag down somewhere around about $85, and I'd be on bouncy watch around there. This one's pretty fucking beat up here though. And this one looks like absolute dog shit. Getting back on Shiver anytime soon? Today, sir. Today. I've actually cleared all of my things to do after this week. It's lovely. So it's back on to some fun times. Could you chart Uni USDT on Binance over a weekly time frame? Or how about, do you want to use a weekly? What is this over a weekly? This is a very interesting way to be looking at things. We can go to a weekly if that's what you're asking. Looks awful. Daily. Again, just lower highs here, man. Nothing bullish about this one as long as you're below about $24. Above 24, I'd call this a trap and back up to 28. But that would be the same sort of territory as, like, I think it was Ethereum at 26 or so. Let me just double check on this one. What is Ethereum? Yeah, 25 to 80. So basically 26 there. Anyways. Let's see. Ellie Alderson says, World Bank declines to help El Salvador adopt Bitcoin, citing environmental and transparency concerns. I can't say I'm surprised. I can't say I'm surprised, man. You know, greed is obviously sounded the alarm bells, and Bitcoin bad, orange coin bad. You want to look at Link, or let's look at 1 inch for Mr. Filson here. By the way, good morning to you, Mr. Filson. Let's see. Down, sir. Down. It's up to Bitcoin here, but range is pretty obvious in this one. Oh, I guess I've already charted it too. 390 versus to the upside versus higher lows coming in about 295. What is next move, however? Daily hidden bearish divergence, not good. 4 hour is downside angled, yes. What about 12 hour? About to fresh across the downside, not good. What about hourly? I'll give it some more time to bake within this region. Now, technically speaking, Mr. Filson, it is still operating on the higher lows, so I wouldn't necessarily get like full on bearish on it, but can it have another move back down towards around $3 or so? Yeah, it wouldn't be too much. Again, though, it depends what Bitcoin does. And to be fair, you know, should I be not looking at that jewel buy signal right there? I mean, it's already had a nice play thus far, but here's the obvious trade on this one. I don't trade in the middle of this range. Yeah, there's a few more things pointing to the downside than the upside, to be fair. The obvious trade is above this high structure, which is 390. Above there, I'd be looking for a nice move up to, you know, somewhere around $5 or so. That's the obvious trade in this case. Below 275, you destroy your higher lows. I'd be looking for a retest of the lows and, you know, probably continuation of the downside after that. Again, it's easier to watch Bitcoin in these cases. I do think it's just generally speaking easier to watch Bitcoin. Okay. What's up, Nimbo? That's like asking Krown to help change the gearbox in my car. I am completely useful for that, sir. Completely useful for that. It's completely useless for that is what I mean to say. Damn, man, my speech is all impeded today, is what it seems like.
Because you're a derp.
That's because I'm a derp, says Elsa. Actually, it's in the title today too. Derp explains. So there we go. I'm living up to my name right now. Let's see. All right, one last one. We'll do FTM. I know this one's a rather popular one as well. FTM USD, Phantom on Binance. Looking good here, actually. Okay, so we do see a couple altcoins actually showing some life. Yeah, I'd be looking for a short-term pullback off of 30, basically 36 cent right there almost already. Daily, do I think continues more? Yeah, this is actually good. This is what I was hoping would happen on Bitcoin, but this is so bizarre. We're seeing some altcoins really show some relative strength here. Bitcoin not playing game with them just yet. To be fair, I probably would be looking for this one to extend gains back up to about 38 cent or so. Short term, very likely a short term pullback off this area. I mean, we're pretty much already there. Daily continuation, maybe over the weekend or into next week, somewhere back around about 38, 39 cent or so. Looks decent here. Actually looks decent. Weekly's showing a completely different look than most other coins in this market, so I suppose you give it the benefit of the doubt in this case. Momentum oscillator is more or less going for a reset as it is right now. So let's go back to Bitcoin. Let's see if we can come up with anything a little bit more obvious here. Still struggling with this one a bit, but I don't know. Do you have anything new to talk about here? Not really. Yeah, man, I am very unhelpful today, but I want to do these videos when I do feel like this, because I feel like a lot of other people out there feel like they always need to know what's going on. And look, man, you know, even as someone who's been doing this for a long time as a trader, there's just times where I do not have a strong opinion on this. If anything, I'd probably be looking. If anything, I probably even shouldn't even say anything right here, because I don't feel like I have a good idea on price action. There's two obvious trades. The obvious trade to the upside is above 39.2, bear trap area, or bear trap confirmation area from yesterday, although this is no longer a bear trap right here. This is just a sloppy sideways and down. By the same token, below the last 4-hour low, which is 37.2, I'd probably be looking somewhere down around about $36,000, man. But it's going to be a long weekend, I suspect. Looking at CME right here, yeah, we officially filled the gap. CME looks a little bit more short-term okay, to be fair. Let's see what the 12-hour looks like here. Yeah, not too hot on the 12-hour, man. Yeah, it's throwing me for a loop on a lot of these different time frames. Yeah, it's throwing me for a big loop. But again, you know, if you do see that obvious trade from yesterday, which is still very much available today, I would actually target back up around, you know, 41,000 or 41 to 42,000 bucks. Would still be in the cards, but man, it is going to be a long day here today, and I think I'm going to be mostly watching this one. So with that said, I want to wish everyone the best of best, and hopefully see you soon. Until next time, take care.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, XR pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it, hype it, pump it, dump it, rinse, repeat, but quick relocate, pause it, list it, send it, burn it, pump it, hack it, quick rename it, take it, lend it, send it, swell it, sell it, flip, unflip it, see it, watch it,